Locklen, I mean, the record tells a story for them as well. They obviously deserve to be here, so we should have a good match. It is just now starting.
Absolutely. They are Team Fire Rod locked, and they beat the Baja Blasters in round 1. That, of course, being the Super Metroid powerhouse team of Albies and Oats and Goats. So, I mean, I don't know as much about Cynas and Locklen as players, but they're clearly no joke at this game. And so I'm looking forward to watching them bring their best to the table here against Team Wildcard, which, honestly, Team Wildcard, probably one of the sort of the front runners or early front runners to win this whole tournament. So both very well respected and talented runners.
At least WildAnaconda is in the credits of the randomizer, and he has personally sat down and powwowed with Total about the version 10 logic, so might have a little bit of inside knowledge. This is the 2v2 tournament, so this is normal Super Metroid logic, so none of the really difficult tricks will be required, but they could help give the runners that can execute them a little bit of an edge in sequence breaking and getting some extra knowledge if they find anything good on their sequence breaks.
Yeah, absolutely. Having your head wrapped around the knowledge with what the logic is going to require you to and not require you to do is one thing, and then knowing when to and how to do the sequence breaks when it arises and when it's right to do is kind of on another level entirely.
Yeah, and we have Space Jump already in Sanctuary. So both teams started with a similar strategy, with one runner going down to the Morph Ball area and the other going into Link to the Past. I've seen teams, Team Stoops product included, that actually prefer to send both runners into Link to the Past right away.
Yeah, and of course, you making up half of Team Stoops product have pretty good insight into their logic.
Yeah,
I can say the team of which I'm part, Bootless Suitless, we always send Solsky down to Blue Bryn Star just to take a peek. So it's kind of interesting. Teams are pretty divided, but it looks like Cynas is opting already to go and do the Houlihan Room as an opening strat.
Yeah, he performed a glitch that is present in the original Link to the Past. It's basically like the 404 page of Link to the Past, but it has 200 rupees in it.
Yeah, it's that fail-safe for when the game doesn't know where to put you when you fall in a hole, it puts you there. And there's a one-time injection of 225 rupees if you choose to grab them all. And that can be really useful for runners starting out. Just be sure you can afford bombs, be sure you can afford the bottle vendor. I expect we're going to see him head toward Kakariko.
Yep, and we have 80 rupees on a tree pull on Locklen's side. I probably was a tier... Oh, he went... I thought he went... No, he was started off in at Morph Ball, so...
Yeah, that was probably the tier 3 pull, so... Yeah. Cynas probably not feeling too bad just yet about having spent the time on Houlihan. Of course, if a bunch of rupees show up real fast, then it starts to feel a little worse, but... It is a nice, consistent strat.
Speaking of, only rupees in the Lumberjack hut, so Aghanim possibly not required.
Yeah, definitely not going to go back to Lumberjack to pick those rupees up unless something really weird happens, but we may yet see Aghanim 1.
And I think Wild setting up a fake... Oh, he's just walking back. I thought maybe he'd set up a fake flipper to head up to the Lumberjack hut, but... So he's actually... Oh, maybe since he picked up Screw Attack, he's going to head back into Super Metroid. Screw Attack will allow access to a number of new items, but he doesn't have missiles yet, so it's kind of lackluster.
Yeah, Screw Attack would open up only front item of Gauntlet and the Old Mother Brain item as it stands, I guess, as well as Terminator. You can get down there, but without missiles, you'd be kind of hard-pressed to get too far.
It looks like he is actually heading into Super Metroid, so maybe he did pick up some missiles that we missed. Yep, and power bombs, in fact.
And so we can see Alu putting the boots from Blind's hut to work right away. All right, Dasher, and we'll see what the Kakariko well has in store. And I think Cynas is going to give us our first check of the library and the racing game. So the library item will be accessible with the boots from Blind's Hut, and it is the Moon Pearl.
Nice. So you're going to need those boots.
Yeah, so we see both Cynas and Locklen are in the Kakariko region, while WildAnaconda and Alucard are kind of a little more diversified, have kind of split things up. It looks like maybe Locklen's doing the top of Kakariko and Cynas was doing the lower part.
Yeah.
But we'll have to see what the division of labor looks like between these teams as things progress.
I think I know that I think Wild and Alucard are fairly even in Link to the Past. Wildcard actually a one-time world record holder of 100 map in Super Metroid, so I think he's going to lean more toward the Super Metroid portion, and having picked up Screw Attack, he can check plenty of things. He's going to have to be a little careful coming out of this area. Without Morph Ball, you can get soft locked here. There is a method to kind of wiggle out of your position, but you can only wiggle right to left. So if you get you can only wiggle left to right. So if you get stuck with a wall on your right, you cannot wiggle out. And
don't I know it?
Yeah. Speaking of the thing we mentioned earlier. But anyway, yeah. Wild is actually going to show us a really cool sequence break. I imagine he's... Oh, no, he would need... Never mind, because he doesn't have Speed Booster. So there is the missiles... No, yeah. I'm sorry. He would need Morph Ball.
He would need Morph, yeah.
Yeah.
For Brinstar Reserve missiles.
Well, he will probably go for the sequence break of the quick crumbles if he likes the item that he sees in the early supers room in Green Brinstar.
Yeah, and so for anyone who's just catching up, we'll see that item here in just a second. He'll probably go into the room, check what's under the bridge.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not in logic to get that, but if he turns and does a quick drop, he can jump out before those crumble blocks reform. And he's probably not going to bother getting missiles, but if it was something more desirable, we'd probably have seen him pick those up.
Yeah, I think that picking up as much ammo as you can early on is definitely beneficial, but it's just too much of a risk.
Yeah, even if you're upwards of 90% at that trick, like, just the potential to lock yourself is just not good. It looks like we have Alu doing some bomb mini mold arms. They're trolling him a little bit here with their patterns. Double.
And only super missiles in Big Pink. Wild has gotten the extent of items he can with just Screw Attack, so he'll have to head back into A Link to the Past and hope to find Morph Ball, or maybe even if you get really trolled and have to come back with Speed Booster into the early supers room.
Yeah, and one thing I like that we're seeing from Team Fire Rod Locked is they got an early check-in. They're first to the front of the escape, and we're also first over to Agina. And so we might be seeing them do some of these off-the-beaten-path checks, trying to kind of hope to catch something in front of Wildcard, since they do know who they're playing against.
That's true. Maybe do a little bit more risky strats in their exploration. One of the things that I really like about this format, so the rules of this particular 2v2 tournament state that whichever team finishes first wins. So if someone on team 1 finishes and then both people on team 2 finish before the other person on team 1, then team 2 wins. So basically whoever is the last player to finish, that team loses. So that those little out of the way checks, one of the biggest advantages you can get is if you can discern which of your two teammates is behind, which isn't always easy because you don't know what items you're coming up on. But if one player is ahead of his partner, then he can do those out of the way checks because it's just time that's not going to mean anything.
Yeah, absolutely. It's all about when the last runner on your team comes across that finish line, completes both games as the runners need to do for this, so they'll have to beat both Ganon and Mother Brain to call it quits here today. But yeah, just being mindful and keeping track of where you and your teammate are is a real skill, and balancing those workloads is definitely something that we've seen teams struggle with, and that that has taken a lot of energy for runners in this sort of category.
Ooh, speaking of energy, there's a reserve tank and wave beam behind Sahasrahla. And Locklen will be heading over to Eastern Palace, most likely. Will not be able to finish it.
Sorry, go ahead.
We did get a map check, I guess, so it's a crystal. However, they won't be able to finish it without Bow, and parts of it will be behind Logic without Lantern. When we say behind Logic or a sequence break, we're talking about the way the game places the items. It expects you to have certain gear to get to each spot, but you can sort of cheat, such as going through dark rooms without a lamp. You can basically be ahead of where the game expects you to be. And if you're in that sequence break and you find a good item, then that gives you a clue on where to find the item that you skipped.
Yeah, that's a nice summary of how those sequence breaks can really pay off and really be informative for runners. Even though nominally they tend to take a little bit more time than doing it with optimal equipment, the information that you can glean about where the item you were looking for has to be often ends up making them a time save. And so there are some common sequence breaks that we see runners do in A Link to the Past, such as dark rooms that we might see Locklen tackle here shortly, or fake flippers that we won't see anyone tackle in this seed because of the early flippers. But we might have seen Alu go for the fake flippers, and now with the hammer and the powder, we might see an early magic bat check, powder at Hobo. But for Super Metroid, similar things would be something like hell runs in Upper Norfair or portions of Suitless Meridia.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there is a huge amount of potential for sequence breaking in Super Metroid, but a lot of the execution can be quite tough, like getting through Lower Norfair without space jump, or not that it's necessarily required, but actually, I guess I'm not actually sure if worst room in the game logically. I guess it would logically require either high jump boots or bombs.
High jump boots, morph plus bombs, or space jump.
Space jump. But if you're really slick and you know the low ice strats, then I think that would be considered it.
I think it actually might be in logic with charge plus ice as well, actually. I think you're correct.
If that's the case, then that's probably the most difficult requirement of the version 10 normal logic.
Yeah, the hitbox on those frozen space pirates is a large rectangle that surrounds the pirate in its entirety, and sometimes it doesn't make any sense.
We have Alucard checking Flanctuary real quick here, and I believe chat just said that Speed Booster was found behind the waterfall. So that's going to be...
That gives us Bryn Reserve, I guess? Like the Bryn Reserve and early Supers access, but doesn't actually open up anything else for the runners at this point without Morph Ball. You could sequence break Old Mother Brain missiles with it, but they already have Screw Attack, so not going to be necessary. And it looks like Cynas is headed over for that gauntlet check.
Morph actually was at Aegina. Chat called that actually about 5 minutes ago.
Oh my gosh. Well. Okay. Yeah, so Cynas has Morph, and I saw Cynas was at Aegina, and I just completely didn't see what the item was, so rip me. But yeah, that's going to open up a lot of Super Metroid for Cynas. He's got a decent set of early game ammo. Screw Attack, Space Jump, and Morph Ball. That kind of gives him free reign for any of the sort of typical areas, but only 5 power bombs can be a little tough.
Yeah, so with Team Fire Rod locked being the first to get Morph Ball, that's going to put him ahead on the Super Metroid exploration. However, the consolation for Team Wildcard is that they'll be going in with Speed Booster. So they'll just generally just going to be faster, and also can check a few spots here and there that require Speed Booster. And also, quite importantly, is there are a few places where they can save on their very low power bomb count.
Yeah, 5 power bombs, something you definitely want to be able to supplement with Speed Booster or Screw Attack, as we'll see the runners surely use. So far, no swords yet, which is kind of rare for a normal seed for 15 minutes and for none of the 4 runners to have stumbled across a sword.
A hammer counts.
Yeah, but a hammer doesn't let you dash through things without a sword.
Oh, yeah.
So it's the inconvenience of dash movement with the boots that kind of drew it to my attention that we were still swordless.
Did Cynas check the back of Gauntlet? I saw him go into the front of Gauntlet, and then he came back out the front. Did he not go to the back? Oh, he did. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, I was watching Wild go get his powder.
Nice. So, like you said, that does open up Magic Bat. However, Kakariko Village is a little far out of the way just to get one item. They'll probably hope to get gloves before they go there so they can start in their Dark World exploration. Or maybe even just have a bottle so they can get 2 bangs for their buck.
I think I saw that Magic Bat was Ice Rod. So that's a known thing already. I guess Alucard did chase that powder. Okay, I see. Yeah, it looks like we are going to get that Brinstar Reserve check here. And just a big 20. But Gravity Suit! Okay. That's a nice find. So it's Agina Morph to Gravity Suit at Brinstar Reserve. So the green and pink Brinstar loop is going to be, if not necessarily required, definitely optimal for runners for this seed.
And this is actually interesting. I don't think Wild picked up Morph Ball yet, so he's going in here just to check 1 item.
Yeah, right now.
Well, 2. The Brinstar Reserve and the early supers, but
yeah, that Morph find is definitely playing in Fire Rod Locked's advantage.
Now, one of the things that I hope doesn't happen for Team Wildcard is thinking, well, we checked everything in the upper green Brinstar, but the 2 items in the back, so, you know, let's go to a more dense location with more new items. But
thankfully, there's 3 items at Edicoons that they wouldn't be able to get to, so it still turns that little sojourn into Green Brinstar into like a 5-item pendant dungeon that probably will warrant going to check.
Kind of like Crocomire.
Yeah, Crocomire. I'm sure we'll see runners go there too.
I like that daily race yesterday, how he got baited independent Crocomire. And there wasn't anything required, but it did have silver arrows and half magic, so I wasn't disappointed at least.
Yeah. Was it also like Ice Beam or Wave Beam plus 2 E-Tanks? Like everything at Crocomire in that seed was money. It was pretty absurd.
It was nothing that was required, but everything that you want. It's like, that's like Christmas when you open the presents that aren't the clothes your parents bought you and pass it off as a Christmas present.
I'm just gonna leave this one as we see Cynas making his way into Big Pink. He's gonna need to be careful about power bomb management, but there are 2 slugs down in Waterway that he's going to be able to farm for power bombs, assuming he manages his ammo correctly through this area.
So Alucard is about to head into Agina's cave and get Morph Ball, and so is Wild. I guess they both ran out of things to do. Yeah, so they're both heading into the desert.
Yeah, they may know, like, hey, this is last check, because about 20 minutes in, you've basically fully swept out your Sphere 0/Sphere 1 locations. And they might be like,
without a
darn
glove.
it, it's Agina again.
Without a glove, there isn't much else to do in A Link to the Past, even.
Yeah, thankfully there wasn't too much else to lead the runners away from that Morph Ball, which is going to actually work out well for Wild Card. But we see without Speed Booster, Cynas is able to farm Waterway, but isn't able to check the item.
Yeah, so that could be the ace in the hole for Team Wildcard. I do also want to note Locklen found a second Power Bomb pack, and that is absolute value at this stage in the run.
Locklen also is...
Oh, this is not good.
That's not gonna... Yeah, he needed to pause and use his reserve there. I think we're probably going to see him wall jump. Oh, he didn't have enough in the reserve anyway. I think we'll probably see him wall jump up a little bit and just check the item and know whether they need to go back.
Yeah, and thankfully he has space jump as well, if he had made it up there. So here's a tip for you kids at home, folks. Don't Shine Spark up to climb supers if you don't have a way to get past the spikes.
Yeah, that would not be good, and it's just supers up there, so if he'd gone up there without space jump and sufficient health, he wouldn't have been out too much beyond what he'd gotten since his last save. But yeah, that is a dangerous room in some subtle ways. Yeah, I think we are going to see Wildcard kind of hot on the heels of Fire Rod locked here through this Brinstar check, and that's not some shot blocks there. You can screw attack them, you can bomb them, you can power bomb them to get into Old Mother Brain. You can shoot them, they just aren't going to go anywhere.
So Wild is actually going to head into early wrecked ship, and going to be quite disappointed when Alucard tells him where Gravity Suit is.
Yeah, thankfully, he's got space jump and screw attack and speed booster, so he'll be able to, make good work out of that area.
How does the lamp stay lit underwater?
Was it lit? Or was it just a picture of a flame on the outside, like telling you what it would do?
Oh, so it's like it's still in the box with like the sample picture on the front. Oh, okay.
It's a new in-packaged lamp.
It's in mint condition.
Complete in box lamp collector's edition right there. Who left that in the ocean anyway?
Oh boy. So anyway, one of the Gravity Suit is just a nice item to have against Fantoon for the 75% damage reduction. Oh, a second
Cynas.
Power Bomb pack. That's really nice.
Yeah, Cynas almost got tricked there by that Power Bomb door, but he's too wise for that. Is going to go farm at Fire Fleas and maybe come back up.
Yeah.
On his way to X-Ray.
Had he had Speed Booster, and if he was good on his short charges, he could have actually checked the item at Retro Brinstar Power Bombs. And he's got Screw Attack to handle the Side Hopper, so not too worried about that. And he can farm Caterpillars when he comes back through here. So it's just the fact that he didn't have Speed Booster didn't give him a way to get through the wall. And we actually just saw Wild do a little short charge and save the Power Bomb in the room before Fantoon. I was about to call attention to that, but got distracted. So, but yeah. So if you do a mock ball while you have blue speed, then you can break bombable blocks and thus save your ammo.
Yeah, and that would have been a nice way to conserve ammo through that section. Although I don't know how comfortable Locklen or Cynas are with their 3 taps, which I think that's either a 3 or a stutter 3 for that. Which is not in Locklen, but
right.
it's definitely something available.
I believe it's a stutter 3, and there's Various Suit. That's really nice. Oh
wow! Yeah.
Hopefully, well, I don't know. It's going to be kind of a toss-up if Alucard goes up through that orange door and checks Retro Brinstar, or if he continues down the Norfair.
With 5 power bombs, I think we'll probably see him route up especially if there's something that he needs to get from Wreck Ship, although it does make cleaner routing as a team if he heads over and down Red Tower. And so this is an interesting decision, but he does have enough power bombs to make that route work.
Mm-hmm. And speed booster if he wants to get those supers.
And we do see Locklen is going to go make that check at Waterway. So that's going to be good for Team Fire Rod Lock, being able to get their Book of Medora and knock this check out. And they're just hoping this is nothing. And so we're going to see new content here at Waterway as well as in Wrecked Ship. I think we're probably going to see Wild Anaconda go through and full clear this area. Wave Beam tricking him into shooting out some of those blocks, unfortunately, but not a big deal.
One of the ways to get around that is just to use a missile, since it shoots straight.
Yeah, that or standing up the whole way, either would work. And I didn't quite check what that item was, or couldn't quite see what that item was that Cynas was trying to check with those jumps. And yeah,
so this is a dangerous area that Wild's in. That room with the falling platforms. The spikes do, I believe, 200 damage if you don't have any suits, and the platforms do 120, I think.
The spikes on the floor deal 60. And then the platforms that fall deal 200.
Oh, I had it.
And
okay,
what was there at the I guess Wrecked Ship E-Tank location? I didn't see what Wild got, but if he had saved, he didn't choose to reset scum it, so he's on his way back out. Thankfully, if you know. If you know the patterns and you've practiced through them, it's not all that bad. But if it goes wrong, it can go very, very wrong very quickly.
Yeah, I knew something did 200 damage. It's platforms.
Yeah,
and the platforms. Fun fact.
Sorry.
Unfortunately, it was just a big heart.
No. The big heart's fine. I was going to say, unfortunately, also with only 2 E-Tanks. If he got hit by that platform, it would trigger his reserves, and if he had more than, I think, about 70 health, it would run out his reserves on the autofill and would double hit him and just kill him from, full health, basically.
Oh, wow.
You do not want to accidentally, turn KO that platform there. But he made it through safely.
But I was also going to mention that, fun fact, the platforms actually count as enemies and not as environmental damage. The spikes are environmental damage, which in this version of Rando, it means that Gravity Suit wouldn't reduce the damage from them. But the platform Gravity Suit would reduce it by 75%. And Varia would reduce 75% from the spikes, but only half from the platforms.
Yeah, it's really weird. So Gravity takes the platform damage down to 50, and the spikes still deal 60. Whereas Varia changes it such that the platforms deal 100 and the spikes deal 15, which is really relevant if you're doing bowling without space jump.
Yeah. I think I actually one time had to go into bowling, and I think I maybe had 1 E-Tank, or I didn't have any E-Tanks, but I had a reserve tank. So I had to manually fill my reserves halfway through. But I think I had 2. I had no E-Tanks, but 2 reserve tanks. So I had to manually refill my health with reserves and make sure it didn't hit 99 and just completely empty my reserves, because I had to refill. The commentary.
Yeah, I think we're hearing that maybe we're not audible. Can you hear me, Cross?
I can hear you, Maniacal.
Okay, yeah. I can hear you as well. Oh, we're back. Wonderful.
Ah. Oh,
Sorry about that.
Awesome.
We're sharing all of the biggest memes, and y'all missed them.
Yeah. We were talking about boots on lamp and the dark rooms.
All of the different tech that the runners won't need this run. We went through every single thing.
Yeah.
Actually.
I think we just had I think Discord may have just had a little hiccup. It was the Discord server. Since I also wasn't hearing Maniacal.
Yeah, I was not hearing you for a while either, so I was just talking like, wonder if Cross is gonna chime in at any point. Lazy jerk.
I just thought, you were taking your mandatory combo run bathroom break.
Nah, I'm saving that for like the 2-hour stretch, you know?
Yeah, I was gonna say it's a little early for it, but
as much as it's a speed run, it is not a race when it comes to taking the bathroom break.
Just don't sequence break.
Oh gosh, no.
Wild just checked X-ray, and it was a heart piece. He's farming up some power bombs so that he can go get that Varia suit, and he's got wave beam, so he won't have to do the blue gate crash.
Yeah, and Locklen just seconds behind here to the X-ray check, so gonna also learn, heart or quarter heart that he does not want. But Alu is headed over to wrecked ship. This kind of surprises me, actually.
Yeah, I totally was talking about this when we were offline, but I think he wants to get plasma beam, so. And even a power bomb pack's useful. So he wants to get the plasma beam, and he's got to kill Phantoon at some time anyway. So he may as well be geared out for lower Norfair when he wants to do it.
Yeah, I mean, plasma beam being here makes a lot of sense for going and getting it. And the third power bomb pack is still a luxury, especially without morph ball bombs having been found. And it looks like Wild is going to show off that Stutter 3 speedball to get his Varia suit. Nicely done.
So it's been all Super Metroid for the last 20 minutes or so, and we have not found any link to the past items in a while, except for a flute.
Yeah,
which honestly doesn't open that much, since they can already access Death Mountain from the Norfair portal. It didn't really give them anything.
Yeah, we haven't found any new progression in A Link to the Past, and with Sphere 1 basically emptied out over there, it doesn't surprise me. We still haven't seen Death Mountain, but without the mirror, we can only get a couple items over there, so...
Yeah.
Or Hookshot. But it looks like Cynas is going the whole way through Wrecked Ship here, doing the full upper Wrecked Ship, did get his plasma beam. And so has probably, will surely communicate to Locklen like, hey man, plasma's up here.
Mm-hmm.
Because the runners are in a Discord call with one another, and so are communicating locations. That's how this co-op works.
We should ask them if Discord went out for them.
Oh man, that would be awful. Thankfully, I've found it be like pretty channel specific sometimes, and so, ooh, charge beam for Locklen here in the Kraid missile location. Not a hard spot or something that the runners will miss, but that will inform his decision and Cynus's decision of whether to pick up additional ammo packs. With Plasma Beam and Charge Beam known now, it's a lot less important to pick up those supers.
Yeah, I would say even if you have Charge Beam and no Plasma, you probably still want to get some super missiles, but with right now, Charge Wave Plasma, you're talking 600 damage, so a Charge Shot is equivalent to a super missile against Ridley. I'm sorry, 750. It's 750, so it's even more damage than a super missile.
Yeah, I know Charge Plasma's 300, or yes.
Yeah, it's 300.
I say I know.
300, 450, 600. Well, 300 is not Plasma. 450 with Plasma.
Yeah, Charge Ice Wave Spazer is 300.
Plasma and Ice. Ice is the worst one, so Plasma and Ice is 600. Plasma and Wave is 750. And everything is 900. We got to hear from our little animal friends here. See, in co-op, there really isn't a reason not to save the animals for the first person, since you're going by the time of the second person.
Yeah, unless the second person is that closely matched. I mean, all you're doing by not saving the animals is maintaining, you know, what's morally right, but also giving your opponents information about when you finish.
Excuse me?
You heard me. And we're going to find out, or I guess Cynas is going to find out what's going on down here. He's going to pick up his stuff in the Blue Bryn area. We'll see him skip some locations.
We have a Bombos medallion for Locklen in the frog pocket, and that little room with the frogs.
Yeah, the Kraid E-Tank room.
The Kraid E-Tank room.
Or the room full of B-Toms, or the frog
B-Toms.
pocket.
Yeah, frog pocket.
Your mileage may vary, frog pocket. And into Business Center with both suits and all the movement items he could ever want that aren't high jump boots, unfortunately. Yeah, in hand. We should see Locklen be able to carve up Upper Norfair.
I just stopped to think. Literally everything other than Shack Tool is in logic for Super Metroid.
Is this correct? I believe this is correct, yes.
It's literally just Shack Tool.
Yeah, we have Space Jump for GT. We have a way to kill the pirates in Plasma. We have a way through to Bot. All the things are there.
Well, you don't even have to get through. Well, I guess you can't get to Bot Twin without Dark World access. The back way. But they're gonna use that flute, activate the flute, and take the back door into Norfair. It looks like. And while they're here, maybe check Magic Bat. Oh no, that was Ice Rod.
I was gonna say they aren't gonna be able to backdoor into Norfair without both gloves, though, via flute. So the
and the Upper Norfair in a Business Center.
Yeah. Backdoor. Oh, sorry. I was thinking about the GT from Meyer area, but yeah, of course, the Upper Norfair
which
one.
Actually, Meyer is in logic. Well, at least the overworld Meyer area, the shed on the left, is in logic since they have gravity and space jump and Varia.
Yeah, but they will not be able to get into Meyer because of no sword, even if it's Bombos Battalion.
And even if they got inside, they couldn't get through the first. Oh, they have boots. Ah,
they have boots. Yeah,
but yeah, no sword. Oh wait, Alucard does have a sword. Was that from Sick Kid? Wait, he didn't have a bottle.
Oh my gosh, where did Alu get his sword? Was it the old man? No.
He's doing the old man right now.
Yeah. Bottle unlocks sword. Okay. So I guess it was Sick Kid.
There you have it.
So a Link to the Past progression off of Super Metroid, Super Metroid located a Link to the Past items, and we might see some A Link to the Past here, as we see both members of WildCard now back in A Link to the Past.
You know, they could get into Pod right now to go through Meridia. And a lot of the changes in version 10 had to do with the item placement using those cross-world portals more intelligently. So who knows?
Yeah.
It could be 2 gloves in Pod right now.
Yeah, one of the weird things about version 9.2 is that you kind of had to memorize where items couldn't be because it just wasn't completely written. Like, the logic just wasn't fully fleshed out for the portals, and so you had to be like, okay, well, Morph Ball is not allowed to be there because reasons. Especially with the Meridia portal. But now it's a lot more complete, which I think is one of the biggest strengths of V10.
Yeah, and I think the shift in normal logic, you know, taking out the requirements for a lot of those trickier Super Metroid locations, that really opens up the sequence break analysis game. Since
yeah, one of the hardest things about normal mode for me is keeping track of all of the different breaks and where things can be, especially on some of these like deeper logic seeds where if you break something early and it leads to other things, and just keeping fully aware of where all the items are is quite a task, especially if you're working with a teammate. Like the information comes twice as fast, basically.
Oh, you know what? With Meridia Portal and Hammer, they can get to Hype Cave even.
Oh yeah, there's a ton of Dark World that's open to them right now.
Yeah, so they just wish they had hook shots.
They have flippers and hammer, so
I mean, they can't get to the Village of Outcasts area, but
they can using or no, sorry, they can't get over there because no hook shot, but they can get basically everywhere else. On East Dark World is fully open because they don't have mitts to get up around, but they can kind of go south down around like the swamp area and get all the way over to like Stump Kid in the digging game. But we're a hook shot away from full West Dark World.
Oh man, second E-Tank for Locklen. That's good.
And Wild finding his charge beam. Probably communicating to Alu, like, yo, charge plasma, come get it. So we'll probably see Alu follow pretty shortly over toward the crate area.
Too bad he doesn't have charged plasma for Crocomire. That makes this fight real easy. A little hard on the eyes, but easy on the fingers.
Yeah, Crocomire becomes the demo reel for Moonwalk. It's pretty great.
The way he's swiping his arms around, it looks more like... Holy crap, there's Kane. I guess we have... Did Locklen check that yet, or is he checking it on the way out?
No, we saw it on Locklen's screen. Locklen got his Canis Samaria.
I was going to say, the way Crocomire moves his arms, it looks more like Thriller than Moonwalk, but...
I can buy into that.
Crocosamaria.
Yeah, Croc's area paying off again, and there for Locklen, that mirror find on Croc exit.
Man, Pendant Croc. So, did Total ever talk about putting crystals at Super Metroid bosses?
I have mentioned it before, and I've not heard anything official about it, but I really want, like, you know, the Kraid G4 to just be at Turtle Rock someday, and, like, The more I play, the more I think about whether or not that's a good idea. But I think it would be a cool thing to fiddle around with.
And if you don't know who Total is, I'm gonna give him a little shout out for being the guy that made this. So he has a Twitch channel. It's actually Tewtal, Tewtal. So really cool dude. I got him to commentate with me when I did the Plando. It just super knowledgeable
where's
about.
Cynas going?
He's going to the waterfall.
Okay, I was just like so distracted. Total's great, but like, what was Cynas doing?
I did actually get Total to spill the beans on the possibility of combo key sanity, where you can go into Palace of Darkness and find a Norfair key.
Yeah, that is not something we have to contend with just yet. Wild finding more power bombs up there at Main Street. Nice short charge, by the way.
Yeah, that's
not free.
Just fit a stutter 3. If you go up on the upper platform, you can do a bit of an easier short charge, but.
Yeah, it looks like we'll have Locklen over into the Bubble Mountain area earlier. Cynas picking up his powder. Probably is going to be finding that ice rod for Team Fire Rod locked. And what was
speaking of fire rods, Mama Turtle wall missile is fire rod.
Okay, so we're 2 glove upgrades away from Turtle Rock, if I'm reading this correctly. Where are the glove upgrades?
They're in pod, I'm telling you.
And a medallion.
Calling it right now. It could be bombos though, but they. Well, Ali's going into Kraid now, so he'll get the bombos out of Frog Pocket, and that's the shovel at Crab Super. So yet another fetch quest for our runners.
Yeah, and having items in Green Brinstar, in Pendant Croc, and in front of Meridia is something that definitely favors strong Super Metroid movement, like what Wild's showing, just having to kind of hit all those different map areas, and that puts Shaq in logic, that grappling beam there at the beach.
The ultimate fetch quest, pedestal.
And so the more sort of far distributed the items in Super Metroid, the more it favors strong Super Metroid movement. And so that's got to be something that Wild's happy to see.
Can never have too many power bombs, especially without Ice Beam for the Metroids.
Yeah, until you find Ice Beam, those first 3 power bomb packs become that much more valuable.
Yeah.
But until you find bombs, like, you pretty much are just happy to have power bombs so that you just never need to worry about refilling.
Mm-hmm. So I think we're going to see a very rare sight here. WildAnaconda69 saving. No? Alright. I thought he would save and check the sand pits, but maybe he'll do that after Dragon. Did he not even check Aqueduct? I guess he'll do that on the way out too. Kind of
I was watching this desert play.
Wild basically going for the 100% item route. And Locklen, I think, is the first person to be exploring the Bubble Mountain items.
Yeah, we're seeing a lot of new stuff. Wild going front to back in Meridia, Cynas doing desert, and Locklen doing the Bubble Mountain, now the Wave Beam area. And Alu just getting Charge Beam. Like, come on, man, show us something new.
So I think he's going to pick up that Fire Rod, and then maybe even do that, head in the pod area. He can grab the Fire Rod and shovel if he sees fit, and take the Meridia portal. One of them can head into Lower Norfair, and one of them can head and pick out those Dark World items that they can access with flippers.
Yeah, I think one of them has to go to Dark World from the back of Meridia here. Like, that's not something that you can afford to leave on the table. So I think we'll see probably Wild, just because the way their team tends to divide labor is keep Wild in Super Metroid as much as possible. Probably does the sandpit checks, and we'll probably see Alu head through to Dark World.
Yeah, and I think Locklen... Oh, never mind. Thought he'd hit the lower Norfair.
And did Locklen get... Nope, he did not quite get that jump, but he is going to take that save. And Dragon down for Wild. It was a pretty okay fight. Cynas about to get the Ice Rod, and Wild finding a 4th E-Tank at Space Jump. It always feels good to mark off Ice Rod, and it feels that much better once you know that Turtle Rock's required, but...
Yeah, speaking of, we haven't even had a Dark World map check yet at the 51-minute mark. The only possible way to have done it up to this point was if you wanted to go up into Death Mountain to check that one Spectacle Rock item and then hop into the Bunny Portal.
Yeah, or down to Lower Norfair and take the portal, or... and get to Mire area that way, or take the back of Meridia. But yeah, we haven't seen any runners end up in Dark World yet, so we have yet to get that map check. So should be getting that soon, though.
Alucard, so basically just went up there to get the Fire Rod. Didn't catch, picked up the shovel as well from Crab Supers, but basically just wanted to get his Link to the Past item so that maybe he will go in the Lower Norfair, check the Dark World map, and he's done wrecked ship, so I imagine he must have picked up that lamp. Would have been no reason not to.
It couldn't have been a Fire Rod thing. It might be a Mire 2 strats thing, but they don't have Master Sword yet, so like I can't imagine he was just like, yeah, I really want to be able to one-cycle Mire 2 if I can get into it. That would be kind of a silly reason to make that play, so...
Yeah.
Yeah, well, we'll have to see where he goes. I'm sure they have a plan. I just don't know what it is yet.
Oh, I think we have our first Spectacle Rock check for Cynas, and maybe he will go ahead and step into that portal and check the Dark World for us.
Jebaited.
Wait,
he went right over that
mirror,
portal, and now he's going back and sees
his
Spazer.
Forget that. Oh, everybody's favorite.
Nope, no Dark World at all.
Bionic tunnel digger.
This is the best digging game. It's a winner every time, as long as you have a power bomb. Otherwise, there's no digging. But shovel unlocked. This guy is gonna dig the path. So I don't know. I see in chat, kill Shack Tool. Do you feel very strongly about that?
Look at him wasting Wild's time there. Dig faster, man. You don't need to get those top blocks.
I don't think there's any other way Wild's getting through here. And not unless he can perturb that snail. But he doesn't even bother the snail. He just lets Shack Tool do all the work.
Just a missile
and
pack.
A missile pack. That was a nice quick check there, though, and a quick reset.
Yeah, he saved his power bombs and then got them all back when he hit reset. All right, Cynas coming up on the crumble missiles, or already doesn't want them and wants to go to Crocomire and get the red cane. That works too.
Yeah, there's been a lot of kind of follow the leader here with this seed. We're going to find out what's in this last sand pit. And I think the only remaining check in the Meridia area is Plasma. And it's kind of nice the way Wild broke this up and did both of these checks late. And finding a Master Sword, and he's surely going to keep that. But what I was going to say was he would have been able to sort of
He
reset
really
from
wants to
plasma.
save that power bomb. Look at him.
You got 20 power bombs. He's like, but no, this is in hard logic. Let's go.
I wish I had spring ball. Oh, it's it. You can't get that without. Can you? You would have to have. Wait a minute.
I think you can backdoor there and get there without power bombs.
Right, because you can come in through. Holy crap!
From Dark World.
You could come
so
in
that's in
through
logic.
Dark World into Meridia, and then just jump down into the sand, and you don't have any bombable blocks. Like not even regular bombable blocks. Oh man, what a nightmare!
I mean, that's the point where I'm turning off gravity and turning off high jump, and
that's true. That would make it much easier.
It's not that bad to do at that point, but I would eat the menu time for sure because that jump that he was trying to do is not simple.
All right, he is on his way to Plasma Room, and with the sword, I don't think he's gonna fall back on his save point.
And so Locklen, Tower of Hera basement, and going for coffee break, but getting baby jail instead.
Baby jail.
He's gonna have to fight off these tiles.
Yeah, that's really bad. In these combo randos, you need to route in that mandatory P break, and this is one of the best places to do it if you can get the trick right.
Yeah, especially if he's going to skip upper wrecked ship or skip bowling in upper wrecked ship, because Plasma is right by that crumble on the way out. Like, if he's not going to have the bowling cutscene, he's going to be crossing his legs between hours 2 and 4. We'll find out how long this one actually takes. Usually these only go for, 2.5 hours, but I don't know. These glove upgrades are not showing up yet.
Well, with the Master Sword, they could actually access Dark World through Aghanim as well. Not that they probably want to, but...
I say it doesn't get us anything through Aghanim that we didn't already have through Meridia.
Oh, there's the bow at Shack Tool! Or at GT.
Yeah, space jump required. Thankfully, space jump was very easy this seed.
Yeah, Alucard actually taking a gamble, not doing a check on it first. Goes through and it's worth.
Oh.
Now they can finish pod when they go in there to get the gloves.
Truth. So what we see Alu doing is standing up and aiming up and shooting. If he just tapped down and then held angle up and angle down to aim upward, he'd be getting 2 hits because of the Torizo hitbox. So
not everybody has an aim down button though.
I was gonna say I don't know if he plays with aim down.
Well, he plays on keyboard, so
he should have it then.
Yeah, he can map it to whatever he wants.
Yeah, so now I can guarantee, and finding Quake Medallion, it's a good find. So
I want to see Quake required for Misery Mire right here now. That would be pretty funny.
That would be kind of the best outcome.
It would be, thank goodness I just found Bow, so I don't have to fight her Sword Vitreous. And we're finally going to get a map check in the Dark World here. It is a Crystalline Mire. We have Green Pendant in Pod, and Off Pendants in Ice Palace, and Skullwoods, Red Pendants at Swamp, and that there was a one in the Light World at Desert, I think.
Correct. Yeah, Desert and Swamp are our red crystals, and we actually also saw that check from Locklen on the way to Hera, I think. But Alu definitely taking time and letting us take that one in, so yeah. I appreciate it.
And Alu will actually be...
Ooh,
there's the glove.
There it is in the Mire Shed.
Actually wouldn't have needed that to finish Desert, since he can use his mirror, but...
And that is in Logic now in V10. It used to not be. It was one of those weird things like, why is this not in Logic? And it was because the cross-world portals just weren't fully utilized. But thankfully V10 fixed it and stopped making people confused about why they couldn't go to the back of Desert, or why they shouldn't in Logic go to the back of Desert without gloves. Yeah, we got a hype cave here, and it was pretty meh from Wild. So, not 5 free items toward go mode, unfortunately. But I guess speaking of, with that bow and that glove upgrade found here on Alu's side, and now that we know the crystal layout, we're, I guess, potentially, we're one glove, potentially an ether medallion, and I guess hookshot if you don't want to hover. Or no, swamp's the crystal, so definitely hookshot. So 3 items from go mode if I'm reading it right.
2.5.
Yeah, two and yeah, I guess a third technically, but yeah, two and potentially a third. So we need a glove and hookshot, and the runners are going to be off to the races. Haven't been racing yet, but we might see it sometime soon.
I know that Wild and Alucard are racing against each other.
Yeah, it's weird because Wild has expressed that he's not really a big fan of 1v1, and yet. But no, this co-op format is great for this crossover randomizer. It's a really, really nice way to play. So, if anyone out there
cuts the average runtime down by about an hour.
Yeah, if anyone out there has been playing these and has not tried co-op yet, you're encouraged to find a friend or even someone that you could tolerate talking to for the better part of a few hours, and to give the co-op a try in like a Discord call or something, because it's a blast.
Yeah, I would team up with Maniacal, but I don't know if he'll want to stand talking to me after commentating with me. Yeah, see, there you go.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I think we could make it work. But we did get to see Charged Plasma Croc there, as chat points out, Moonwalking Croco. And Cynas having a little bit of trouble revealing his fire rod in the wall there, but worth the extra effort. Nah, we should do co-op sometime, dude. I think it'd be fun. But not until after the 2v2 tournament's over, because...
I think we're up against each other, aren't we?
I have to play, or Solskin, I have to play Keku and Zost next. Which I think is going to be a fun matchup. I guess... I don't know what happens. I think if we lose, we end up in your path if you guys win your next match or two. If I remember how it works, I would have to look at the bracket. Let me do that.
Completely forgot.
So, yeah, while I have the bracket up, the winner of this match will go on to face the winner of Bootless Suitless, me and Solsky, versus Snappy's Hawaiian host, Kekumen Shoyu and Zost. And then the loser of this match will slot into the loser's bracket to face the winner of Team Dilligaf, HCF Wesker and Ancient Gamer, and Gegar Gang, Sephi and Sloter's team. So lots of cool stuff coming on both sides of that. Whereas looks like Stoop's product... Okay, so we could play if you win your next two, we win one, and then lose. So not that out of question. I've got my fingers crossed for that matchup. I think that would be fun.
And you've already played against Jet in 1v1, I think.
Yeah, we played, I guess, this past Friday, I think, and now I'm waiting on a couple matches to catch up in that bracket. But that's been a fun tournament too. But the 2v2, I mean, it's a faster format, and just chatting with someone is a lot of fun. Nice moonfall there from Cynas as he heads back down from beach.
Yep, and while it is showing off that double hit plasma, if you do the crouch and aim straight up from the crouch by pressing L and R together.
And Alu now, yeah, with his Titan's mitts and his Moon Pearl and his hammer, has full Dark World access.
It probably wants to head up to that Turtle Rock and check the requirement sooner rather than later. Possibly as soon as he finishes Skull Woods. They need to
100%.
know. Yeah, they need to know if that ether is required, and also this layout makes Turtle Rock a great place to look for hookshot.
Yeah, and Turtle Rock is absolutely in logic. A little inconvenient with Fighter Sword. I'm sure he wouldn't mind picking up the Master Sword, but I think he's got at least one bottle that he could pick up a blue potion. He has powder and has fire rod, so it's not too bad. But here's that second glove. So both gloves here, Mire Shed and Checkerboard Cave. So that backdoor Meridia paying off big, and Cynas getting that second sword out of the sandpit.
You know, I think Alucard might actually do Eastern first, since that's a crystal he's got to clear, and he can get the blue mail out of there. I might rather do that if I have to go in the Turtle Rock with Fighter Sword.
Yeah, 7 heart regular magic Fighter Sword Turtle Rock with green mail is not on most runners' list of things to approach.
Yeah, he may as well be playing Oko at that point, or Twoko.
Twoko, I think, is definitely correct, because everything in there does 4 hearts, pretty much. Except Trinex, which does 6. I think the head actually does 6, and the body still only does like 1 or something once in phase 2. But again, I'm bad at damage tables. But we see Alu's going to drop in 6 hearts, green mail, Fighter Sword, and enough magic for 2 shots. But okay, looks like he's going to go for a Hammer Moth. 4 Hammer Wallops, and Moth will die.
Whack-a-Moth.
One more Moth Wallop, and Alu will die. So this is a tense fight. Oh gosh.
Yeah, man. If you...
Oh!
Yeah. Just in general, this guy's tough, but even, you know, with low on safeties and low on attack power, it's really just mothballs.
It's pretty bad. No fault in dying there, except Alu's fault. But no, really, totally excusable to take a death to Moth with green mail and not many hearts. It's not an easy fight.
He didn't even use his B.
Oh.
Wow, found hookshot.
Got him. That ped check was hype, so everyone get excited. 10 dungeons are going to be required today.
I knew they'd have to do pod. I called that, at least. You tried.
And so Wild has gotten the bad news, taken out some frustrations on those space pirates. Like, I'm gonna have to play that much A Link to the Past today? Come on. And yeah, Cynas has learned the bad news about Shack Tool. Locklen's not gonna have to go there. Locklen has to go to Upper Wrecked Ship to get that plasma beam. Doesn't need anything else, though, so we'll see if he chooses to pick any other items up on his way. I think the only worth in here was that plasma beam, though. And I guess some heart containers, which... The runners are still a little low on health in A Link to the Past. You see Alu wandering around with just 7 hearts. Heading into pod. So, definitely excusable to grab some extra health safeties.
So, unfortunately, the hookshot on pedestal, the extra dungeons didn't make them require any extra items. Now, one of the benefits, first of all, of Alucard's circumstance is he's going to have to go get that pedestal later, so he can clean up Skullwoods, finish Mothula later on when he's more geared, so that's good for him. He didn't really lose much time on that death. Now, that's something that could really troll them is, hey, pedestal seed, go get all the medallion, go get all the pendants, then you get up to Turtle Rock and find that it's ether, and that you left ether medallion in Pendant Ice Palace or Big Chest or something.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised we haven't seen Alu rush up to check Turtle Rock, but I guess with 2 medallions in hand, he wants to be able to go do it when he gets there. And so he's just operating under the idea that I'm not in go mode yet, even though they got that glove and they know where that hook shot is. Like, he could know if he's in go mode, but just doesn't yet.
Yeah, and you know, he could actually just clear Turtle Rock while he's up there too.
Yeah, provided he can get in.
Yeah. Really, the only reason to go up there would be to look at the medallion and see what's required.
Yeah,
maybe.
I'm surprised that we're not seeing that play, honestly. I think that's, the thing to do. But of course, 67% it's going to be a waste of their time, and then 33% of the time they're going to find out that they need to keep checking items. So, which
means 100% of the time they're going to. It could be that Team Wildcard feels that Alu is ahead in the 1v1, so he should be the one doing the extra checks. So he's just gonna maybe full clear Palace of Darkness, since
that's fair. Yeah, just making him do the extra checks, and trusting that the pod key layout is more valuable right now for the fast completion than something like knowing that Turtle Rock medallion, which will come naturally at some point.
Now we've got the Locklen here in the Hyrule Castle Dark Room. I think this is the first time we're seeing this. Of course,
I believe so.
Team. Okay. Well.
Okay.
That could be interesting.
Yeah.
Now, if that's kind of a double-edged sword. If Turtle Rock does require ether, then that means that he's going to be full clearing it, looking for a hook shot or bow. But hey, at least the viewers at home will soon get to see which medallion is required, since he'll probably check that out. Wait, he doesn't. They didn't find the gloves.
They haven't gotten to the Mire area yet, so
that could be what he's doing right now.
I think that's probably what we'll see Cynas do next. We might see Locklen go that way,
or maybe he'll catch up on Meridia and get Fire Rod.
But looks like he might be going to Lower Norfair, which is a new area that they've not explored yet. So I think that this is a good division of labor within Super Metroid for Fire Rod Locked, just sending players to different regions and letting Cynas on maybe on exit go and get into Dark World and start checking things out that way.
Alucard found my personal favorite item, high jump boots.
Ooh, they were in the Dark Maze?
I think they were in the Dark U, in the Treasury.
See, I wish A Link to the Past had cool room names like the Treasury. I have never heard that name, and instead it's like the Swamp Big Chest Room.
Well, Christos Owen was commissioning people, not literally, I don't think he was paying people, but he was asking for suggestions on community names for the rooms, and I provided a list of all of the Ice Palace rooms and name for each one.
See, I wish that had gotten sort of more widely adopted, because
some of them were dumb. It's all right.
Well, sure. Some of the Super Metroid room names are dumb, though. That's part
Some of them are named after typos.
Exactly.
Like the Precious room that we just saw Cynas pass through. See, what's funny? Okay, so the room right before Dragon, it's called the Precious Room.
So, sorry. I need to interrupt and just say, Turtle Rock is Ether, and we need to watch for Wild Nalu to get back to Dark Cross. But, yeah, sorry, pre-Dragon room is Precious Room. I just needed to interrupt there, sorry.
Because one of the pretty famous within Super Metroid community members, Eternized Dragon. Yeah, Eternized Dragon, or Aaron Yeager in Discord. He meant to say that someone was in the previous room, but he misspelled it or his phone auto-corrected it or auto-incorrected it to Precious Room. So now that's the Precious Room.
I think it was just in SRL during a race at one point, and the C and the V being side by side on a QWERTY keyboard makes a lot of sense.
My headcanon, though, is that it's called the Precious Room because you have the Eye of Sauron down under the lake looking for the ring.
That's definitely the story. Let's go with that.
The Ghidorah, the Eye of Sauron.
Ghidorahs are kind of creepy. But here's that bow for Locklen. He is going to power bomb and space jump his way over to it.
He just wanted to double check and see if he had spring ball to see if he could do it the safe way.
And so we'll see what strat he uses for GT. Starting off as a ball, getting GT backed up against the wall, but needs to get in a little closer to be truly safe.
Ooh.
He's low on health.
I wonder,
this is not going to end well if he tries to tank this.
Doesn't seem that he knows about the safe spot.
Yeah, he's not inching forward for it. He's going to get bodied here and then double hit off of this iframes. And this is going to be a tough fight to do. He has too many missiles right now. He needs to have fewer than 30 missiles to avoid the crescent attack here.
Yeah, he could be utilizing his screw attack as well to avoid all of the projectile damage. Oh,
but he made it through. So yeah, I guess all the suits was enough to tank it, even with only 2 tanks and some reserves. But yeah, so, he has Yahtzee here on his medallions. And so their Team Fire Rod locked is good regardless of the medallion requirements. We, of course, know they are Quake and Ether for Meyer and Turtle Rock, respectively, but they do not yet know either of them. They just know they're good. And Alu is finishing Pod Eastern.
I'm looking for that Ether medallion.
See what Wild's doing. So, yeah, I was going to say, they know they need that Ether medallion, and unfortunately, it's not going to be on their way to getting their hook shot.
Now,
so,
if this were a 4v4, then Team Fire Rod Wildcard Locked would be in go mode.
That's true.
Although Locklen just grabbed the power mitts and is about to grab the Titan's glove. Whatever. He's got the hand things.
Or the better grabbers. Here they are.
He's got that always reminded me of the glove from Thundercats, like the claw shield. It's like it's got like the red gems in it. I don't know if anybody's ever heard of this show called Thundercats.
Indeed, I have. In fact, I've seen some Thundercats, but that was going
in real life.
No, not in real life. On the television. On the real life television. Same place I've seen Alf.
So,
is there anything left to talk about? I'm just broken right now, dude.
Spring Ball. No one found Spring Ball yet.
We haven't seen Spring Ball, yeah.
We also haven't seen a third sword.
It's true.
So this is like, is Alucard gonna find another sword, or is he actually gonna have to go back in the Meridia and get the sword out of the sand pit?
I mean, we're going to see all 10 dungeons because of where Hookshot's located. For anyone just coming in, we know Hookshot is on the pedestal today. And with Swamp being a crystal, the only way Hookshot can be on the pedestal, they're going to need to go get it. So I can't imagine we don't run into another sword. But of course, Wildcard right now is like, I can't imagine we don't run into the Ether medallion somewhere.
It's in one of the most forgettable locations, too, in the Hyrule Castle Dark Room.
Yeah, I've been burnt by a hammer there twice. In these.
Team Stoop's product has been burnt by Titansmith there, actually.
Oof. Yeah, it wasn't a team race, but it's almost
it's
worse
even worse
than a 1v1.
when two people forget it.
Like, I was going to say it's almost worse when it's a 1v1 and you like slowly trudge yourself all the way around Hyrule looking for things.
Yep. Which I'll be looking forward to. Okay, so Cynas heading in the north. All the elevators look the same. He's heading into Business Center. Fun fact, Business Center is the favorite Super Metroid nickname of runner Behemoth87.
Huh. When did he divulge that?
It was an interview during Awesome Games Done Quick 2017 when they did the 100% race. It was Behemoth, Oats and Goats, Ivan, and WildAnaconda69. It was a 4-way 100% race. They had an interview before the race. Yeah, I don't think anyone died in that one.
Hondo's pretty forgiving in that sense. Like you don't.
That's
the
true.
run dies a lot, but you don't die very often at all. Like there are a bunch of dumb tricks that can kill the run, but most of the runs can be completed if you're pressed to do it.
And if you're curious about what Wild Anaconda's answer to that was, it was the pants room.
Really?
That's the room right before Shack Tool. We have to go up and then back down. If you look at it on a map, it looks like a pair of pants.
So, what's your favorite Super Metroid room name, or a Link to the Past room name for that matter?
Can it be one I made up?
Yes. As long as you can, as long as one would natively understand what room that is. Like, don't just be like, yeah, my favorite room name is Greg. Like, don't throw that crap at me. But like, if
which room is Greg?
I don't know. I don't think it's a real room. But what's your favorite Super Metroid room, Cross?
My favorite Super Metroid room name is the Can room.
Okay. And I know which one that is because I've heard you talk about it before. For anyone who doesn't know, it's the one pre-high jump boots in Upper Norfair off of Business Center, as a matter of fact, that looks like the leg doing the can. If you look at the map. My favorite room is PB's in Jail. Or my favorite room name. Not
PB's
that anyone asked.
in Jail. Oh, is that the Lower Norfair Escape PBs?
Yeah.
Ah, so those PBs are in a jam, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay, so my favorite Link to the Past room name that I didn't make up is Pot Prison.
Pot Prison. Ooh. Let's see. Where would Pot Prison be?
Skull Woods.
I still don't know what room that is.
If you fall down into the left hole, where you go to pick up the first chest in a normal route where you check the front first, and then you go upward, there's the other chest with the locked door on the right. And they're like little jails with pots blocking them.
Are you talking about the one that's like the way of the vanilla way to the big chest? That circle of pots you drop down into? Is that Pot Prison?
No, the room west of the big chest.
I don't think I've ever gone in that room, or not since I've played the game as a child. There's no reason to go into that room, is there, if you know what you're doing?
There could be an item in there. In Rando, not in NMG.
Wait, there's an item location in...
Right, so you're in the Skullwoods overworld. You're coming up from the Kakariko portal. And the first hole you come to, like on the left side, you fall down. There's a room with the fire bars and the bumpers and the crystal jellyfish.
Yes.
And you go to the right, there's a chest. And when you open that chest, all the holes pop up.
Oh, okay,
And then you go north from there, and there's another chest in there.
Oh, Pot Prison is the one with all the vertical channels.
Yeah.
Then okay, I gotcha. I was thinking that everything was surrounded by pots.
Well, it's not a prison. It's not a cell made of pots. It's a cell with a pot for a door.
Yeah, now I understand. So, yeah. With that lengthy sojourn over, we now have all of our runners in kind of distinct dungeon areas. So we have, except for Cynas, who's doing Lower Northford, which is kind of a dungeon area. But we have Locklen and Miserymeyer having gotten the Titan's Mitts for Team Fire Rod locked, and Wild in Thievestown, Alu in Ice, frantically hunting for either another sword upgrade, or no, Wild found a third sword upgrade.
I'm looking for Ether.
While we were memeing, so all we need is Ether for them, and we know where it's at. So if you're rooting for Wildcard in the chat, throw them some energy, willing them toward Dark Cross, which I really don't think we're going to see for quite a while.
Right, with so many items and so many pendant dungeons that they have to enter anyway.
Exactly. Like, you have to think, oh, we're going to hit this at some point. And I mean, Turtle Rock is, of course, a crystal. So, like, they can find Hookshot in front of it. I think we'll probably see Pedestal pulled in the back of Swamp before we see Dark Cross out of them. So that gives Fire Rod locked a lot of equity to kind of play catch up here.
You know what would be probably the most likely time to route in the Hyrule Castle is when they go to check Pyramid Fairy after grabbing the 2 red crystals, which again are in Swamp Palace and Desert Palace.
Okay.
But that's going to be after Pedestal because they're getting Hookshot for...
Exactly.
And they're going to be full clearing Swamp Palace versus likely a go mode Swamp Palace from Team Fire Rod locked, so that may hurt them.
Yeah, this is...
Oh, we have a cool bomb jump here from Alucard. So the logic expects you to have Hookshot to get through this room. But if you hug that ice block there and move down as far as you possibly can go so that your shadow is completely covering the shadow of the platform. And, has to decide between using a potion or resetting, and ends up dying.
That is
he mirrored
one of the
before he death worked.
Yeah, that is one of the trickier bomb jumps in the Ice Palace route. So I think there are like 5 or 6 different bomb jumps you can meaningfully do. Although bomb jump 5, I think, is actually just it's kind of the skipping the one fire bar on the sort of weird hook-shaped ice platform.
Oh, the Hoth hook, I like to call that one.
Makes sense. That's a room name that I can get behind. That one I understand a little more than Pot Prison, to be honest.
Wild Anaconda breathing a sigh of relief that he doesn't have to hunt down the cape in addition to what he already needs.
That's true. There no Ether Medallion on Bumper Cave. Or like Mushroom or something. I guess Mushroom still could have been there. That could have been a real
did they ever
point
use
of consternation.
Did they ever use the shovel?
I believe that we saw the shovel chase, but I'm not 100% sure. I don't know. I don't remember what we dug up. So, Cynas onto his Ridley fight. So far, a pretty clean Ridley. Ridley, notably easier with a bunch of supers and screw attack. Ridley's tail will still get you out of your screw attack, but everything else you can just kind of go right through like Cynas is showing off. So far, a pretty good fight.
Except the acid.
Yeah, that will still deal damage to you, as will Ridley's tail, but everything else good to go. And looks
he
like
found himself a nice little safe spot in the acid, actually. Well, relatively safe. It's like out of the pod into the fire situation, literally.
Yeah, Oh, here we go. Wild is in the back of Escape. And he's not saving quitting, so this could be the check. So yeah, I think that Wildcard is going to find their Ether Medallion and be in go mode.
That's very good. And also, just picked up Ice Rod on the way, or Ice Beam, which will basically just make Torian faster at this point.
Yeah, and it surprises me that they got back here this fast, to be honest. I was very worried.
As soon as I watch Alucard's stream, as soon as Wild picks up this Ether Medallion, watch Alucard. Okay, I thought he would just like completely just leave. Like, oh, you found Ether, forget Ice Palace, I'm done. Like, I'm done.
Yeah.
Well, he still has to finish it.
Shot.
He still has to finish it, but he doesn't have to. He doesn't have to find all the items. But I could feel Alucard's relief radiating from the restream here.
Absolutely, they know 100% they're in go mode.
So
Alucard
I don't have to do that
needs
bomb
to get
jump.
another sword. Yeah, well, he never needs to go back for that bomb jump.
Well, he doesn't have to anyway because he took the key back and went the other way. But yeah.
Now let's stick to the narrative of he gets to get around that bomb jump by just not doing it.
Because he accidentally used all of the keys, you know, the other way. So he accidentally opened the crystal door, even though he's got red king. And Locklen using bombs against Vitreous only has 29 arrows and not silvers. So. And also rocking I can't say I blame him for that. It's 5 hearts.
Locklen still only has 5 hearts.
Yeah.
I did not notice that, but he's got to get out of the middle here.
He already took a lightning hit, so that was 2 hearts. So he's probably waiting. I feel like the eyeballs are still going to do 3 hearts of damage if one of them touches him. So doesn't want to get any hugs here.
With a blue mail, it would deal 3. So he does need to be careful of both the lightning and especially the eyeballs.
Maybe he took 2. Oh, he possibly took 2 damage from the slime.
Oh, he's got a fairy. He gets a rebuy here. This is good. And now he's again 1 hit away from death. And now that there are fewer eyeballs, those lightnings come faster.
Mm-hmm.
So the fewer eyeballs there are, the faster these lightning cycles come for Vitreous. And so, okay, so far so good. He's only got 4 arrows left though, and Vitreous would take 8, the big eyeball. So I think we're just going to see him slowly work his way through this fight, but fingers crossed. Yeah, most of the Link to the Past bosses have some sort of mechanic where they get tougher if they're lower on health. For example, extra lightning from Vitreous here. If you're down the 1 Landmo, he shoots rocks in 8 directions. You've got the infamous red Armos that everyone tries to skip. And I think even Cold Stare, as you kill the cotton candy puffs, the icicles start dropping faster. That's one I've never noticed.
It might be my imagination, but
yeah, Locklen has made it safely through his Vitreous fight, so I'm glad he was able to clutch that one out. That's a bad death to take. Wild, meanwhile, absolutely rich with hearts, has 10 of them.
Plus 40 arrows, so...
Yeah.
Plus, didn't he get the blue cane in Pod as well? Or is that Alucard? Someone got the blue cane from Pod Big Chest. It was not Wild. Okay. He's got Tempered Sword too, so like, what the heck even?
Yeah, Wild has found all the sword upgrades. Because he did Meridia, he did the Sand Pit.
Mm-hmm. Meanwhile, his poor partner is still rocking that fighter sword. Maybe I won't have to go out of my way. Maybe there will be one in GT.
No, I think we'll see Alu grab the second one. And looks like round 2 for Alu versus Moth. Now with a better sword, or no, the same sword, but more fire rod ammo. So we'll see how this goes. Moth takes 8 fire rod shots. 4 hammer wallops.
Wallops.
I'm sticking with wallop. That's what I'm going with today. But yeah, he needs to be careful. He's got more than green mail. He has blue mail now, so he's not dead yet.
I have a question. So in swordless mode, you have to hit Ganon with the hammer. Would you call that Hog's Wallop?
I would definitely call that hog walloping for sure. I think that's required in swordless.
Yeah. Well, it's not. Yeah, it's required for the first 3 phases. I mean, it's required for all of them, but
I've not done any swordless randomizers, but that sounds like something that I would absolutely say. And Cynas just using space jump and screw attack and gravity and varia to get safely into Loren Fair. That's basically the items that actually put that entry into logic for normal mode. I think if you want to go into Loren Fair that way, you're required to have various space jump and gravity. And he's gonna go and get his bow. Or no, he's already got his bow. Oh, he's going to Meyer this way. Everyone has their bow already. Locklen and Alu still have to go and kill Ridley. But do Cynas and Locklen, do they know about Hookshot yet? I don't think they do. So I'm hoping that Locklen checks Pedestal here while he's headed to the back of Skullwoods. You cannot catch the Ropa with the net. But that would be pretty cool. And it looks like Wild's setting up for some Fire Rod strats here on Lan Molus. Unfortunately, a little bit of a bad hop, but it's able to close it out early on a 2-cycle there. And yeah, Locklen's thinking.
The Tempered Sword swing against Lan Mola is equivalent to the Fire Rod shot, so landed one, just had to spin to finish him off.
Well, could have slashed to finish him off, but I think he had sword beams and wanted to get around the sword beam.
That's a good point.
But there's the mitt here behind all these tricky push blocks for Cynas has gotten his Titan's mitts. And yeah, I don't think that Fire Rod Locked knows about Pedestal yet.
Well, that's a good point.
And Cynas mirroring and trying to get into the back of Desert, and unfortunately, that mirror spot was just too close to the doorway. He wasn't able to get in. But makes it in second try. And if they're going to full clear Skullwoods, I think, to answer the question in chat, that we will be seeing Pot Prison. But more importantly for them, we will be seeing a Pedestal check. And they are going to learn what's going on. They're going to get wise to this right quick. And
so this is basically going to be go mode for Team
Fire Rod Locked. Yeah, I think they now have all the information with that hookshot knowledge. That they are also in go mode now. Only about 9 minutes behind Team Wildcard finding go mode. So we'll have to see. At this point, it really is an execution race. They have all the information they need.
Yeah, and we unfortunately don't think we'll see Pot Prison unless they are looking for some more luxury items. Since if they know where everything is, there's no reason for them to check extra rooms. They can just do an NMG style clear of Skullwoods.
Yeah, so we might not see that Pot Prison after all.
Do we have a kerfuffle in Wild Anaconda's restream? Ooh, here we go. You know, I noticed that the sound went out for a moment, and had so much to watch that I didn't actually realize that Wild stream was blank for a second there. But we're back in business, no worries.
Yeah, it was the audio was struggling there, but now it is back, and we're good to go. And Wild is making his way through pod basement as Cynas has cleaned up desert, and Locklen is checking things in Village of Outcasts, which is weird to me.
I may be hoping for a sword or silver arrows if he's not going too far out of the way to check him.
Yeah, that's fair. That's a reasonable check to make.
Or spring ball, of course. And they don't know that high jump boots are in pods, so it could be that too. Alright, Wild Anaconda handles Helmosaur King and grabs a super missile pack off of him as well as the green pendant. Probably will not bother turning that into Sahasrahla. He just has to go mode Ice Palace, which is pretty quick clear.
Yeah, I suspect Sahasrahla's green pendant turn in and Pyramid Fairy are two locations we will not be seeing in today's run.
Yeah. So if Canon says Silver Arrows were in the light world, then probably, well, maybe Mimic Cave or possibly Sahasrahla.
I was gonna say we probably won't see Mimic Cave either.
So yeah, while it's already here, he's gonna get the crystal that he needs out of Eastern Palace. Ice Palace will be a pretty quick go mode clear, as well as Skull Woods, and just mirror straight from Mothula over to the pedestal. Alucard, remember, does still have to defeat Mothula himself.
Alu went back and did Mothula. I think Wild still has Moth, though.
Oh, I thought that Alucard pieced out after checking pedestal. I didn't see him actually go back in.
He ended up going back with a blue mail and used a blue potion and was able to muscle through that fight. It went badly kind of both times, but the second time he was geared enough to survive.
Well, okay then.
But
oh, he's already got the hook shot even. Wow, that must have been...
So he has 4 dungeons left in A Link to the Past, heading into his Go Mode Swamp, and 2 bosses, so I guess 6 dungeons, quote-unquote, left. Whereas Wild has 7 dungeons, plus GT.
Yeah, I think what Alucard...
Ridley's pretty slow. So I think they're kind of tied up.
What Alucard probably wants to do is head into the Meridia portal right after Swamp Palace.
Yeah, that's going to be the best time to do Dragon, but as another option, doing Dragon post-GT is not all that bad, or like post-Ganon fight. And those are going to be the best 2 times for him to go into Meridia via the back door. Lower Norfair is a little less convenient, but he hasn't done the Misery Mire clear yet, so that'll also be pretty easy for him to route together. And then, of course, Turtle Rock and Tower of Hera. So he has 3 pretty streamlined plays for finishing up. Wild stuff is a little more scattered, with Ice and Skull leading to Hookshot, and then kind of needing to do Pod, Desert, Swamp, and Turtle Rock still. So he's kind of going to be all over the map.
Meanwhile, Locklen still has to do Palace of Darkness, and he'll combo that with Eastern. Then he has to do his Ice Palace, and then the Skullwoods. Oh, I'm sorry, Skullwoods is the... Yeah, sorry, Skullwoods is the pendant. So he can get his final pendant from Skullwoods right on his way to pedestal. So that one at least is going to be streamlined for me. And, oh no, did Cynas pick up that same fairy that Locklen had? It looks not.
Don't think so. I think Cynas just took a vitreous death, which is not a good death to take. That's one that just it takes the couple minutes to get back through Mire. Thankfully, the runners have boots, so it's a little less bad, but that's still one of the worst dungeon deaths to take in A Link to the Past, behind probably only Cold Stare in Ice Palace and like Aga 2 or Upper Ganon's Tower.
Yeah, or an overworld death. Sometimes overworld deaths can be pretty costly depending on which Dark World portals you have open.
Oh my gosh, yeah. I've had like the inclination to do Suitless Meridia to backdoor Dark World access a couple times to get into Dark World.
It could be required in hard mode.
But would have had to fake Flipper to pod. And those flying cupcakes, I was just like, I'm not doing this. I'm going to get sniped by one of those cupcakes and be back at the ship and have to redo all of it. I'm just going to do Dark Aga. Screw this.
I always thought they looked kind of like 1-up mushrooms. So it made me think of the Lackey 2s from Super Mario World that have the 1-up mushrooms flying around. Just like 1-ups of death.
And using that powder to get some fairies here, he's going to have a little extra safety, but does take a Wizrobe hit there on his way back to Vitreous, so... Yeah,
Wizrobe's total glass cannons, 4 hearts of damage to green mail, but he'll die to pretty much the weakest attack you can throw at him.
Except Hookshot, unfortunately.
Well, they're not ticklish.
Yeah, which is weird. I feel like if you hit, like, glass with the Hookshot, usually it would be okay. Or it would get grabbed and would, like, come right to you, but... Ooh, Wild is taking a bit of a beating here in Cold Stare, but made it through.
Gets his Comcus from Cold Stare.
More importantly, gets his red pendant. Thanks, Pedestal. Thanks. But still, yeah, I think that Wild and Alu have balanced things fairly well. Locklen and Cynas independently seem to have also maintained a pretty good balance. I guess nominally it looks like Locklen's ahead by 3 crystals, but then Cynas is ahead by, again, Dragon and Ridley's a pretty slow boss to do in Super Metroid, so I think that we'll see both teams finish fairly close.
And it looks like Alucard did take my advice and went into the Meridia portal straight out of Swamp. So we're going to see some microwave shrimp, I think.
Yeah, and I think that's a good play. And then after this, we'll see him go back to the back door out of Meridia, probably. And then,
Save and quit.
Well, Mirror Flute to Mire, I think. I think he's activated his flute, so...
that's true.
Mirror Flute to Mire, go do Mire, and then Lower Norfair. And then kind of go back out backdoor via the GT Energy Recharge.
Ooh, Cynas happy that he picked up those safety fairies.
Yeah, he's got a lot of eyeballs left to fight, though, and just Master Swords, so ooh, he needs to be very careful. Oh gosh, this is... yeah, not gonna work. Oh, he's got another one. Okay.
Yeah, he caught a second one in that room below the crystal, west of that other crystal. All right, fans. We need some name suggestions for Misery Mire rooms right now. Let's see what you got.
I got Misery Mire Big Chest room. I got the room full of eyeballs.
Vitreous?
I got Mire 2. I think that's a good one. Let's get some creative names for these Mire rooms.
The Crumbs room. The room with the crumbs. The things that come out of the wall, like after you blow up the hole. Yeah, they're like they're crumbs, right? So we'll just call that the crumbs room. The Meyer crumbs room. But there's a Turtle Rock crumbs room also. I think there might even be a Ganon's Tower crumbs room that you never see. Not sure. Oh, there is the fish room. The fish room. Or fishbone room.
Fishbone room is...
Yeah, that is a good one.
That's a good one.
All right, let's see what WildAnaconda69 pulls up off of this pedestal. What's it going to be, folks?
I think it's a blind ped check for him.
Dang.
I don't think he ever went to read this. I think he's just making the play.
I don't even think he picked up book.
Oh my god, it's hook shot.
Wow. What luck. He is in go mode, folks.
Yeah.
Alucard did go back. That's actually pretty smart. So he's going to take the Norfair portal to get back into Link to the Past, or even just go straight down and fight Ridley from here.
That is
routed in that sword pretty smartly on Alucard's side. Oh, we're gonna have a blue cane for Locklen here. Not really sure what he's still hoping to find, but
silvers, I suppose. I guess they don't have Ice Beam yet, but they have plenty of power bombs.
True. Yeah. And Ice Beam was in King's Tomb, I think. I remember Wild picking it up right before heading into the escape back room.
Yeah, I think it was King's Tomb. I'm not 100% certain, but that sounds correct. But yes, to answer chat, both teams know about Pedestal. Team Wildcard have both completed all their pendant dungeons and have gone and pulled Pedestal. Whereas Team Fire Rod Locked still is working on those pendant dungeons and kind of getting them done in sequence with the other things they have yet to complete, but they're also in go mode in that sense.
Oh, it was Graveyard Ledge, so Peasant's Tomb. They couldn't afford one of the nice graves, so they just buried peasants in a cave above the graveyard.
It's kind of dark, but so is this whole game. Like,
you mirror to the light world.
Oh.
It's actually a light world location, technically.
Mind blown.
Yep.
And Alu is making that play to do Meyer and presumably lower Norfair. So this is going to work out. I think Alu is going to be our first runner to finish, or he's going to like
rooting for him in the 1v1 even.
Yeah, I think he's going to scout out GT and feed Wild Anaconda all of the information. So Wild's going to be able to go right to the GT big key probably, which is crazy. The level of sort of soul read that he has on this blind pulling ped and then going right to the big key. It's going to be pretty good. Wow, Patrick Starr getting in the way for Cynas.
See, now I always thought those guys looked like the Count Chocula marshmallows. Not the bat-shaped ones, but the blob-shaped ones.
They kind of do. But, you know, I like Patrick Starr as a name for that enemy. I think it's one of the few community agreed upon names.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense
for
Link to the Past. Like, that's not the one I want to pick a fight over.
Okay. So if Alucard does feed Wild the GT Big Key info, then he's leaving himself wide open for Wild to pass him in Torian or on Baby Skip or something.
Yeah, and I think that right now Alu's in the lead, and so they're going to be looking to balance against that and give Wild sort of catch-up mechanism times. And looked like Wild was going for a 0 cycle here and decided instead to presumably get a 1 cycle out of this Argus. Still a pretty quick fight. Oh wow, Argus re-grabbed that puff right quick.
Oop. So,
nice. Nice, what, 3 cycle? 4 cycle here on Argus too.
No, if you get, I think, 2 fire rod shots in a spin, you can one cycle them, but you're also spending time on the menu, so I don't know how much overall time it actually saves.
If you do it right, I think it does save a couple seconds. I think like 3 or 4. In NMG, it also sets you up pretty easily with a menu back over to mirror. But for Rando, who knows where you want to go after this?
Well, you generally either want to save and quit or mirror and use your flute. Oh, I mean, unless you're heading over to Meridia like Alucard did.
Yeah, I mean, you could have like Bombo's tablet or something for after, but it's so slow to full clear swamp that usually you would check that before. And Cynas is onto blind, doing a little bit of bullet hell here, onto phase 3, and has plenty of hearts, so able to clean that up nicely. And Locklen going back through Eastern now armed with the bow, going to be able to finish the Armos Knights. Would have been able to finish the Armos Knights earlier, but couldn't get past the Red Igor.
Yeah. So the bow not required for Armos Knights, but required to get up to him.
That was a nice net dash there from Wild, and unfortunately picking up the ferry.
So is Wild's already heading to Turtle Rock, whereas Alucard still has to do Ridley before he heads up there.
Okay, so I thought we were going to see.
Well, he had already cleared Myers first time in, I think.
Huh. Yeah, I thought Alu was ahead for a while, and I misassessed something, because Wild is the first into Turtle Rock. And Alu still has Turtle Rock and Ridley and Tower of Hera left to do, so I guess it's going to be on Wild to full clear GT.
Yeah,
or at least until Big Key.
Cynas is on the way to get his green pendant. Whereas Locklen just finished it and is doing Eastern Palace. Then, of course, they still have to do Skull Woods and Ice Palace, so a lot of ground to catch up.
Yeah, at this point, I would say that Wildcard has built a pretty substantial lead. They found the Ether Medallion fast enough.
Yeah, that was kind of the one
big
factor that could have caught up Team Fire Rod Locked. I do want to say that I thought that Team Fire Rod Locked's early game was really good. They seemed to spend much less time backtracking early on than Team Wildcard did. But unfortunately, unfortunately for some, fortunate for others, I guess, that Wildcard's execution and late game routing really stepped up their game.
Yeah, I mean, both Alu and Wild are very clean at executing in both games. And so, even with, minor couple second here, couple second there mistakes, overall they routed very cleanly, were very thorough, figured out where they may have missed things, got back to them quickly, converged rapidly on, for instance, the Morph Ball at Agena that could have stood as an advantage for Fire Rod Locked for a little longer, because they did get to Agena early, got their Morph Ball, were pressing that advantage in Super Metroid. I like you, liked their early game a lot. But just having, seconds cleaner in each room or screen type of execution really makes up a lot of early routing inefficiencies, and I think overall they routed very, very cleanly.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like they spent a ton of time just backtracking and doing nothing.
Yeah, that's true. Every time Wild stepped back into Super Metroid, he had 1 or 2 more spots to check, and it was basically like that or Agena at one point. So they had Alucard heading over to Desert and Wild checking there's 1 or 2 off spots in Super Metroid. Then eventually they got to Aegina at the same time because Alucard had gone further out to check the desert ledge. But basically came to Morphball at the last possible moment.
Yeah, that was kind of a last location for him, which is not all that uncommon with Aegina, but Locklen, I guess, deciding that more health was a desirable thing, grabbing the quarter heart piece on the Mama Turtle pedestal.
Yeah, and after some difficult Vitreous fights, I don't blame him. Vitreous is quite difficult, but even just some of the normal enemies in Ganon's tower can take a toll.
Yeah, definitely with the low health situation the runners are in, don't fault anyone for wanting a little bit more health in this seed.
I mean, Locklen barely has enough Super Metroid health to even finish the game. I think he might have one extra reserve tank.
Yeah, he needs to pick up some health somewhere, presumably. I mean, like you said, he could finish the game, but
yeah, it's absolutely required to have 301 energy when you finish off phase 2 of Mother Brain. I think he's got 2 reserves. Even if he's only got 1, that gives him barely enough.
I think he has 3 reserves.
Oh,
because I think we saw him take a quote-unquote death and get a full health refill off of his reserves. He might have 4 reserves.
Well, fun fact, if you've only got 2 E-tanks, reserve tanks 3 and 4 won't help against Rainbow Beam. You can't even pause to refill manually. I guess he could fill them up right before getting hit by Rainbow Beam, so I guess it does still count, but...
Yeah, I mean, the third one at least helps. It gets you up to 299.
Oh, again. Yeah, that's true.
The fourth one is completely useless. That's why I said he has 3 or 4, and I'm not sure, because we saw him get a full refill from 0 to 299.
Yep. So, ironically, Locklen's microwave shrimp won't be as effective since he doesn't have ice. It's kind of funny.
Yeah,
ice improves the microwave? What?
Definitely not something that we would think is intuitive, but here we are. Very little intuitive about the microwave beam strategy.
Alright, so Alucard is heading into Turtle Rock now. Wild has already scouted it out. You can say you need these chests, you can say you need the big key, big chest, or you can skip that, or whatever else. So
Vanilla Big Key was just an E-tank, so we'll probably see that get skipped.
Yeah, not worth a small key, I would say. Unless you're Locklen right now and only have 2 E-tanks, maybe.
Yeah, Locklen, I think, if Wild told him there was an E-tank Vanilla Big Key, he would rush right for it right now, but...
Yeah, one of the more challenging aspects that comes up in a 2v2 setting is that you're not checking as many locations personally, which means you're not picking up that extra ammo, those extra E-tanks. Even so, only having 2 E-tanks 2 hours in go mode, that is even a rare case for 2v2.
Oh yeah, that's very uncommon. Normally, in co-op, when you hit go mode, you end up doing like a low percent type of completion of these, where you do have a less generous loadout than normal. But this is very unusual. And nice finishing the Microwave Dragon, getting forced into the standing position. Good use of X-Ray and general game knowledge there from Locklen. Looks like he is going to check the space jump location, which Cynas has already seen.
Oh boy.
There's that E-tank. He was waiting on that one. He knew what he wanted.
Yeah, if he does have a 4th reserve, that effectively increases his health by 200.
Yeah, and this is absolutely enough for him to go and finish the game. Now, whether he'll choose to grab additional or not...
Whoa, we'll got some big key guesses for Ganon's tower here. I This is on a Speed Gaming channel, but I don't know if we have the official chat game in combo randomizer.
I don't think so, because I mean it's not even really the end of the game most of the time.
Oh, hey,
It looks
look
like
at
there's
that.
a bot.
bot's
So.
active.
Yeah, the bot will run. You can turn it on, I guess. So what do you know? There's a big key guessing game.
It might as well. And shout outs to
why not?
Kickoff, one of the admins of this tournament. He's putting a lot of work in behind the scenes. So say hi to Keku.
Yeah,
he's on Hawaii time, so he's just got out of school, I think.
Yeah, we have Keku to thank for a lot of this tournament even happening, and it's been so much fun so far. So big thanks to him for all the work he's been putting in.
Yeah, and fun fact, Keku was my very first commentary partner.
Interesting. Keku is my very next opponent in the 2v2, along with some fella named Zost.
So boy.
Zost is that guy who's on Keku's team, so we'll see how this goes.
Yeah, Tower Room, not so much of a gamble in this format where he just needs to speed up Alucard's time at this point. And remember, Alucard does still have to do Tower of Hera, so he's going to be a while before he gets into Gauntlet Tower. So honestly, this is actually really, really smart. Yeah,
this is kind of the obvious play here to send Wild full right, and it's good to see this being the play, because this basically minimizes the gap between them if the big key is not on the right side.
Yeah, if you consider the alternative, big keys are on the right. So if Wild goes left,
6.
Left takes a lot more time to complete left side. So if Wild goes left and big key's on the right, Alucard enters Ganon's tower. Wild's still doing left because it takes longer, and Alucard doesn't know which way to go. If Wild checks right first and key's on the left, he really wants that boomerang. So it's taking this extra time to maybe find silver arrows or something good for Alucard. Say if Wild goes to the right and big key's on the left, then Wild's already finished right side, and Alucard immediately knows which way he has to go.
So I don't know that I agree with checking anything past this Stalfos room, though, because I don't think even if silvers are all the way in the randomizer room, that going to get them saves any time.
Right.
So I don't know that it makes sense for Wild to continue checks past this, because it's not like Alu's incompetent at silverless.
Correct.
Like, he's very capable of completing the game with his current loadout. And so how deep can you go in Ganon's tower basement? Well, he got Spring Ball, so it's all worth.
What a meme.
But yeah, how deep can you go in Ganon's tower basement before it's no longer worth the potential time save to your partner is kind of an interesting question.
Yeah. At the same time, it's fun. He's got nothing else to do while he waits for Alucard to finish, and we know Wild ain't gonna save the animals.
Yeah, I mean, this is... It does let him have a tighter finish with his partner, and like I said, I mean, the only information the other team is going to get is from SRL, and so if they saw Wild done, they would have some idea of how close Alu was, and it might affect something, and so keeping that information hidden for longer could be a good advantage.
Yeah, if you try to discern,
it won't make a difference.
Based on your opponent's finish time, you can try to discern how trolly the seed is, and there are the silver arrows in randomizer room.
Yeah, we'll see if Wildcard sends Alu there to get those silver arrows. I think that's kind of the worst case for them.
Yeah, it's about as far as you can get from the compass room where he found the big key.
Yeah, and like now Wild's going to have a faster Ganon because of it, which is kind of funny.
Yeah.
But I don't know if we'll see Alu go for those or not.
Well, we're gonna have to wait until after Moldorm anyway. They can finish. We had a good question. They can finish the game in either order. They can do Mother Brain, and then take the escape up to the portal and head back into Link to the Past and kill Ganon second. However, in my experience, it's faster to kill Ganon first, so that you can save and quit and warp back to the ship by hitting the reset button.
Yeah, it depends. If there's stuff you're still looking for Super Metroid, doing A Link to the Past first can really make a difference. In the Cape, there's actually a nice find too behind Ice Armos. That's gonna simplify the Ganon fight a little bit, depending on how things go. But
so, what do you mean? Do you actually need items to finish Super Metroid? I thought that they had a 0% category.
I guess if you're like I was gonna say if you're like Total and Snick, then I think you can do it on 0. But most of us at least need 14.
Yeah, Total also in addition to creating this randomizer, very knowledgeable about TASs or tool assisted speedruns of Super Metroid as well. Definitely not a one-trick pony. He's very knowledgeable about execution in the game as well as code behind the scenes.
And we have Wild and Alu now into sort of light and dark world versions of this upper tower. The light world version, much quicker, much less harmful, but still has a Moldworm at the top. Unfortunately, I don't think we're going to get synced Moldworms.
As long as Moldworm doesn't sink them.
It would have to sink Wild quite a few times for Alu to catch up here. But this is a nice gauntlet so far, and looks like Locklen also up on Upper Dark World Death Mountain, but just on his way over to Turtle Rock, and then still has Swamp, and I thought he finished Ice. Maybe I was mistaken. I think I messed up. I think I thought Locklen did Ice, but he didn't. But yeah, still has a few more dungeons to get through, but getting into Turtle Rock and getting that key layout for Cynas. And Alu getting the shortest bathroom break in the run here at the Ganon Tower cutscene.
Yeah, he missed the one in Tower of Hera, unfortunately. But he should be done any second now. Well, not any second. He should be done within the next 15 minutes. Oh, it looks like he's going for the silver arrows. Or at least picking up a key.
He is grabbing that key, but not going to continue on to silvers. So they decided it was not worth. I didn't notice, did Wild have to take the key from the left side to go right side there for the initial play in Ganon's Tower?
The key was in Tile Room, I think. Or...
Oh, okay, yeah, if he got a small key in Tile
I definitely saw him in the Torch Room with 0 keys. So one of the first 3 chests was a key. I think it was actually the Tile Room. But Alucard picking up that key means he gets to skip the Tile Room, so... That must be it then. It was in the Tile Room. That's a nice
play.
Not telling him which chest it is. Oh, Wild checks the Moldworm 2 chest for no particular reason. They haven't found Gold Sword yet, although Locklen did grab a Gold Sword in that sand pit in Meridia.
It is just going to increase the item collection count. And on to Aghanim 2. And nice setup there. Good, easy Aga pattern, able to convert that into a triple, and looking decent for the 2-round, but getting a bad coin flip there. But yeah, that's the best Dagger 2 that Wild could have had, so good fight there. Always happy with the 3-round. And nice script spike dash there from Alu. Good handling of the spike and switch room there with the Igors. These are why these rooms need names, by the way.
I remember with the Igors.
The one with the Igors and the spikes and the switches and the... Like, such garbage.
You could probably name all the Turtle Rock rooms after some Mario levels. Because they're basically, I mean, that's just the Mario dungeon. You got the pipes, you've got the lava, you've got pokies, you've got chain chomps.
Or do we go, or do we name all the Turtle Rock rooms after different obscure music genres?
Like Turtle Rock.
We got like
Acid Rock.
We got Pipe Core.
Pipe Core. The Dub Chomps. Oh, that was the Greg room. Okay.
Finally found it. Oh, okay. So Wild's on to phase 3 of Ganon, and Alu is on to cycle 3, actually cycle 2 of Lambo 2. Cynas just getting his blue pendant. He is set up to get his hook shot.
Oh, he's gonna get a double off of the... Oh, a triple even.
Ooh, nice triple
it
there.
Was barely just south enough in the platform to get the triple there. All right, so G,
Okay.
Get your G in chat for WildAnaconda69. He's just cleared Ganon and has but to finish killing Mother Brain, saving the animals, and escaping Planet Zebes or Zebus.
I would be remiss if I didn't mention something. Wild, G for Wild, but even bigger props to Lamgwin in chat, who I think has given us the best name thus far for a Turtle Rock room, the Red Hot Chili Pipers, for the vanilla big key pipe room with all the lava. I think that's brilliant.
Okay, so rather than naming them all after obscure genres, we can name them all after rock bands. So that's...
Sure,
I like that.
why not?
All right.
Turtle Rock could just be like the Hall of Fame. And Wild the first to hit Torian's elevator. And Alu not the last to hit Moldorm in the tail. But did not get bopped off the platform. See if he gets his red rupee. He is not going to get that red rupee.
Dang. I was really hoping he would.
Yeah. He's going to end with a meager, what, 108 rupees.
Hmm. Could have had a nice power of 2.
He won't be able to pay Kiki to open pod.
It's true. If he were playing New Game Plus and he went straight to pod, he'd be sorry. Oh, wow. That's an unfortunate mishap on Aga 2 for Alucard.
And Cynas grabbing his Ether Medallion is going to be able to get into Turtle Rock. And what just happened to Locklen? Was that a Death Warp?
Yes. Whether the Death Warp was intentional or not.
Okay, it was...
I don't know. It might be...
Okay, it was a laser bridge. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, he didn't even open the key door, so yeah, that was definitely a Death Warp. And Wild not gonna go for any sort of baby skipping shenanigans. With his beam setup, do you think we're going to see him go for Crystal Flash? Or I think we're probably just going to see him play it safe.
He did not empty his reserve, so I think he's just going to refill. If you, he knowing Wild, he doesn't. Oh, okay. Maybe he could do the. Never mind.
Yeah, Keku
knowing Wild, he
out,
probably wasn't anticipating. Wild generally doesn't take extra time to set up backup strats, but if if you weren't too confident in your baby skip, you could actually empty your reserves before the baby drains her health, because once they hit max health, they'll immediately drop the reserves to 0. So it's a little bit faster way to set up for a Crystal Flash.
Yeah, absolutely. And Keku pointed out that Wild didn't have his high jump boots. Only Alu got those. I forget where they showed up, but
I believe it was the pod treasury.
Okay. So yeah, they just never got grabbed by Wild, and so baby skip exceptionally difficult without high jump boots, to the point where it's not worth the time.
Alucard having the fairy revive against Ganon.
Yeah. On to phase 3 though, and with red mail, he should be in good shape.
I think the transition from phase 2 to phase 3, if Ganon doesn't teleport immediately, is probably the hardest part of the Ganon fight, I would say. At least the hardest part to do without getting hit.
Yeah, because you have to be wherever Ganon's going to go if you don't, quote unquote, lose the coin flip and get that first teleport. You have to be wherever he's going to go around the bats. Yep. And
Alucard being extra careful to get his torch glitch, since he has to do this without silver arrows.
Yeah, no silvers, no half magic. I agree with the decision to be 100% sure you get torch glitch.
And also
2 spins per cycle.
Yeah, it won't be going for the Fire Rod chance at 3 spins per cycle because he just wants to conserve his magic. And Wildcard is executing what we call stand-up glitch. He will be able to start damaging Mother Brain's phase 3 health before he even gets the Hyper Beam.
Yeah, so as recently as maybe a week or so ago, Wild taught me some new things about stand-up glitch, about what it means to do an optimal stand-up glitch, and it's exceptionally hard. But in addition to trying to get at least 39/40 shots off at Mother Brain here after the 17th hue change, where she locks in her gray stage and her health pool of 36,000 HP. Once she stands up and starts firing at the baby, you want to keep the baby in the middle of the screen so it gets hit by all of the onion rings and so that it shortens the death cutscene. And so we'll see if the baby takes damage from all the onion rings. That's the most important part, but then getting the optimal death where baby is kind of in the middle of the screen here is, wow, looks pretty good. That was a very nice stand-up glitch. Little nuanced things that save a second or two that, I didn't even know I was supposed to go for.
Yeah, you don't want to save all that time in phase 3, but then add that time to the cutscene, basically.
Exactly. That might be, since learning to appreciate the cleanest stand-up glitch I've ever seen.
Oh, that was a G for Alucard. Okay. I thought they were coming in with early Gs for Wild. Wild has not yet finished, but those are the first Gs for Alucard.
Yeah, Wild will be getting his GG here soon. But that was a really, really nice stand-up, in addition to only having the one rainbow beam shot to get Mother Brain's head to fall. All the onion rings connected, baby died in a good position. That was everything you want a stand-up glitch to be, I think. So we'll have to ask Wild if he thought that was an optimal stand-up glitch or not, if he comes into chat.
No, there's really no reason for him not to save the animals, especially if he wants to play the mind games and make it seem like to his opponents that he's taking longer to finish.
Yeah, it depends if he just wants the sub 225. That's a nice time on a pedestal seed, honestly. I wouldn't begrudge him just locking in a good time. And looks like that's exactly what he is going to do. So yeah, there it is. GG to WildAnaconda69, finishing with an official SRL time of 2 hours, 24 minutes, and 47 seconds. And that will put him in first place of all 4 players here in the 1v1v1v1, I guess. But really, that's a nice time. Sub 225 on a pedestal seed is not that easy without being fairly efficient. So it was a good run by Wild.
We'll see if Wild will come in here for an interview while we switch up the audio here.
And we get Alu with high jump boots, not getting his baby skip, but he's also just got to finish up Torian here and escape the planet successfully. Maybe we'll have to leave the baby skip to Fire Rod locked. Maybe we'll get to see the baby skipped by someone today, but it will not be by Team Wildcard. The Metal Pirates, meanwhile, are proving a little angry here at Locklen. They're kicking him and doing all sorts of horrible things.
And there's Team Wildcard in the credits. Special thanks to them. And Keiko's in there too.
Yeah, and Ivan also in the tournament.
Oh, I'm in there too. All other beta
Andy.
testers. That's me.
Oh yeah, me too. If you look real closely, I'm like somewhere in the O. But no, really, like there's quite a community effort that went into making this happen, and I mean, Total at the head of it, and Wild and a lot of folks kind of right behind, working on the logic and putting a ton more work than I did into it, where I just kind of played the seeds and was like, yeah, this was fun. It didn't break this time.
I couldn't really help because I only specialize in worst case scenario.
To be fair, that's important. I feel like some of these randos come right up against worst case scenario, and Locklen has made it through the Ridley fight, didn't have to trigger reserves, so not worst case for him yet. And Cynas is working on following through Turtle Rock. We'll have to see how he routes the dungeon, if he does anything differently as a result of the information that Locklen fed him. And Wild says that he will be coming to chat, but is going to wait for his teammate here. So hopefully we'll get Wild and Alu into chat. I think that'll be really nice. Looks like Alu is also going for his stand-up glitch. He was off the ground at the right frame, or at the right time for that first check. And so now with X-Ray, it's pretty safe as long as he doesn't shoot at the wrong time. So we'll see how Alu is able to finish up, if he's able to get a nice clean stand-up glitch or not. So far, so good. Pumping some shots into Mother Brain 3 here. Locklen on Lower North for exit. Cynas is almost at Red Hot Chili Pipers. Coming up here, one screen transition away. There it is. And Locklen still forced to use power bombs to do these bomb jumps. Somehow, we've not found morph bombs. Spring Ball was in GT, so it's been It's been nice that the runners did get all of those power bombs. And Screw Attack making quick work of those red key hunters as Alu is through Mother Brain 3.
Yeah, it looks like Locklen still has to clear a couple pendant dungeons even.
Yeah, so he might be running just a little behind schedule here. It looks like maybe there was a little more separation. Wild and Alu looking to finish up just over 6 minutes apart. So pretty close time, all things considered. I know we've seen teams finish as close as about half a minute apart and as long as, 15 or so minutes. But ultimately what really matters is when that second team member comes across the finish line. And so a mid 2:31 coming up here from Alu, depending on whether the animals get visited.
Yeah, and remember that Team Wildcard has no idea where their opponents are, so they might consider it too big of a risk to save the animals. As much as Alucard will try to say it's a 3-hour penalty if he doesn't do it.
Yeah, I 100% agree with blowing by the animals if you are the second player through. And it looks like their Alucard has made it to the ship and finished with an official SRL time of 2 hours, 31 minutes, and 32 seconds. So GG to Team Wildcard. Congratulations, and they'll be moving on to 2-0 in the tournament.
Yep, and once again, that means they will be going up against the victor between Team Bootless Suitless and Snappy's Hawaiian Host.
So I got my fingers crossed for Bootless Suitless, but both of those teams are quality players, so I think that's going to be a fun match. I'm looking forward to that one. And unfortunately, it looks like Cynas and Locklen have elected to forfeit and have said, you guys are monsters. We were in go mode.
Oh,
and it was a good game. So they're throwing in the towel, saying, we know how we're going to finish this one up. So GG to both Cynas and Locklen, Team Fire Rod locked as well. Really nice run by those guys.
Got a bit of a time if all four of the runners want to come in here. Our next event on this channel will be coming up in about 20 minutes. That's 9 p.m. Eastern time. It's actually going to be a Zelda 1 randomizer. So stay tuned after the interview for that if you are interested in Z1 rando. It's a really cool. Lots of there's a good amount of tech in Zelda 1 rando as well, clipping through walls and screen warping and stuff.
Yeah, and it looks like we are joined by Team Wildcard, so Wild Anaconda and Alucard have hopped in. GG, guys. Congratulations on the win.
Thanks very much.
Thank you
to Cynas and Locklen.
Yeah, that was quite a race. So for a while, we weren't sure when you guys were going to get back and actually find your Ether medallion. And so it was very much up in the air. How did you guys get around to routing the back of Escape back in cleanly when you knew you needed to do pedestal and all the pendant dungeons and everything?
I mean, basically, like, we knew when after I finished LN and went up and checked and saw that it was Ether on TL, we were like, okay, so we still need to be full clearing everything. So we just started, like, since Alu was already on his way doing all the pendant dungeons, he was like, all right, just do crystal dungeons. And I was like, okay, so there's these other things that we could do. Oh, we haven't done Back of Escape yet. And he was like, okay, so what you could do is you could just, like, do north route that we haven't checked yet, because neither of us had capes, so we were like, well, but so we're like, all right, go up there and then do the north route stuff and then just end in Back of Escape, which ended up being really great. And the thing that was actually, we were a little bit unsure because we didn't know whether or not Boing 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 was hook shot or spring ball. And so we were really worried that we were going to end up having done all the pendant dungeons and then end up getting Spring Ball, which would have been bad.
After all the Ocarina of Time Alucard's been playing,
I was like 80% sure that it was hookshot or something. I was fairly certain because I mean people call the hookshot boinger, and like I think I've seen that text before. But I was like, if Total pulled a fast one on us, I'm gonna be upset.
Hey guys, it is Spring Ball. You should totally put that off longer.
Yeah, I didn't know what it was, but Cynas did.
Yeah, because I think Maniacal, you and Solsky had a seed recently where hookshot was on Ped.
Yeah, that happened. I was not too happy about it. I was clearing something, so I was like, "Yo, it's hookshot," and grumble. But yeah, it does say boing boing boing. So I know those feels pretty well. But GG, Cynas and Locklen. It's always too soon when it's hookshot on Ped Alu.
Yeah, I mean, I made some pretty stupid mistakes there, like forgetting to grab my mitts and stuff on my way through Lower Norfair, and then Vitreous just absolutely schooled me. I forgot I was wearing clothes at all and just wrecked me. But other than that, I was pretty happy with how things were going. I think we were only about a half hour away or so.
Yeah, you guys were in go mode. We're progressing to the end of the seed. Had a clean path to finishing, and so I think the last thing you guys needed to find was the fire rod. Or no, you needed to read about the hookshot. That's what it was. Yeah, so like once you guys read about the hookshot, you knew at that point.
Yeah, we were in no mode.
What was an interesting thing about the seed, as Alu was pointing out, was doing ice without the hookshot. Having ice be a pendant, and he was pointing out that like ice is completable without the hookshot, then we could come back and get like one of the hookshot items with that could be ether, and like there was before we had found ether, so like there was some like interesting stuff that could have happened in this seed, and it was overall a really interesting seed.
Yeah, and even your route coming out of Meridia to check some of the Dark World was super interesting, and like of course, the double glove upgrade.
Oh man, that was so silly.
That's insane.
Just like in the daily last night, Titans amidst being in the mire area.
Yeah, but it was both.
Both gloves, checkerboard and mire shed in this one. That was pretty crazy.
I did want to ask Wild Anaconda about the early game. And how
I don't want to talk about it.
How did you feel about having to go into Super Metroid 3 different times and find nothing, and then go get more ball and come back?
Yep, it was a pretty bad feel. I mean, like it felt bad because like the last place we could check in A Link to the Past was where Morph was. Like literally like people say like, oh, it's the last place, but like actually the last item that we could have checked was like in all the games was Agna for the Morph Ball, and it just felt bad because like we could have been clearing more of A Link to the Past faster had I not been going back into SM like 3 times. So that felt pretty bad, but like it overall, like I guess, you know, ending with like a 2.5 hour team time, like it really wasn't that bad of a mistake. It just felt bad, like, you know, being like 30 plus minutes in with Morph Ball there in like a Sphere Zero area or whatever you call it, and not having it. So it was a little bit of a bummer, but aside from like just feeling like I was playing subpar, for me also made it feel kind of bad.
I got my first Kraid quick kill on stream today. I'm pretty thrilled. That's
my
highlight.
Yo, congratulations. That's
Thank you.
Actually awesome.
Which
I was happy about Mike leading Batu and Dragon. That was fun.
That was also really nice to see. Wild, I wanted to ask you, because we talked about this a while back, and I kind of talked about it a little during the broadcast. How close to an optimal stand-up glitch was that? Because it was beautiful.
One shot. It was during my final 7 shots before you stop because you want to get you don't want to get screwed. I greeted for it. I was greeting for the 7,
Yeah,
and then like my fourth one, I released just like a few frames too early, and it wasn't fully charged. So it was just one shot away.
Yeah,
As far as the
position
positioning
was good, and the onions were good. Everything was good about that.
Yeah, there were no onions missed. The
that you missed
position
that
could have
fourth
been
shot.
better, but it's like it's really hard to get the proper position with the Metroid and still get that's just like the most optimal, the most hard thing to do. It's like I don't even really worry about the Metroid position honestly too much. But yeah, I like got all the onion ring hits in. The only thing that was not good about that is I had to turn around twice instead of just once. Walking away from Mother Brain after she stood up. That was the only thing that was bad, really, about that, and the missing the one shot.
Makes sense. It was good to watch and get a better example of what that's supposed to look like in general. It was a good end to a really nice run.
Thank you.
And then you had mine come and just ruin it all.
Yours was fine.
Except you didn't save the animals.
Yeah,
So it's a
that
3-hour penalty.
Got there.
Guess we got lucky this time.
Dude, I got a 3-hour bonus for throwing a bird. It wasn't the intended bird to throw, but I
Any
wanted
bird
to.
will do. Any
Nice.
bird. Just throw them all the birds. But I guess Cynas and Locklen, because it is a double elim tournament, you guys are still very much alive.
Yes, we still get to
And-
face someone else.
I was gonna say this match feeds into playing the loser of this match feeds into playing the winner of Team Dilligaff, Wesker and Ancient Gamer versus Team Gegar Gegar Gang. I cannot speak today when it comes to Gegars. Sephi and Sloters. How do you feel about either of those potential matchups coming up?
I definitely have to do my homework on them.
By the
Yeah.
way, I'm sure it'll be a great match.
Oh yeah, definitely. Like no doubt. It was first of all an absolute privilege to race against Team Wildcard. Like we know that those guys are some of the favorites in the tournament. So my hat's off to you guys. We had a blast, and that was really one of our goals was to race one of the top teams. So we're really happy. But now that we're heading down into the lower half of the bracket, it's going to be much more interesting games, and we're going to have to keep playing at our best to stay alive.
I mean, you guys played very well, and I think you have a shot at making a run at least another round or two deep in the losers bracket. I look forward to watching those matches.
Who knows? Maybe if we play everything just right, we'll have a rematch.
Maybe.
That would be
It's
fun.
possible.
I'm pretty sure that even if we keep on winning, at some point there's a good possibility that we'll play bootless suitless, which would also be a pretty meme match for us.
You can't get
let's
better
see.
without playing.
Yeah.
If Snappy's Hawaiian host beats bootless suitless, and you would win your next match, that would set that match up. And there are other
Are you
potential
referring to
scenarios
yourself
downstream.
in the third person?
I don't know who's on that team.
Oh, okay.
But no. So
But
I
yeah,
guess-
either of those two teams are great matches.
that would be a lot of fun. And actually, that brings me to Wild and Alu, Team Wildcard. You guys have advanced and will get to face the winner of the Team Bootless Suitless versus Team Snappy's Hawaiian host matchup. How do you guys feel about those matchups?
Terrified.
Not justified.
But we're always terrified. That's the key. We just come to the table and play our best. That's what we do. We just try to bring it every time.
And I mean, the first week I think you guys had a 218 or something, and then in this one a 231. Like, those are some monster times. So, I mean, you guys have brought it 2 weeks in a row now. I have no doubt that y'all will bring it in round 3 as well.
Yeah, I think we look forward to Just as many games as we can play. What do you think, Wild?
Yes, absolutely. It's gonna be it's this is the upper tiers of the brackets here, so no messing around. We got to make sure we're on top of everything and no making any stoops, mistakes, as I tend to do. So
just
Stoops
casually
mistakes happen
clearing
to everyone.
GT. We were looking for those
casually
silvers.
full clearing GT.
We
It
were
wasn't a
really
mistake.
confused. I was
Well,
like,
I mean,
even if
part
it's
of
a
it was still
rando room.
looking for stuff for Alu, and if it was in any like close location, but like silvers being all the way in random room, it's just like we couldn't justify him going and getting those to make his Ganon fight faster. And I was just like, well, you know what? I'll just meme it up for the fans. You know, just full clear.
But didn't
Okay, I'm
save
glad
the
you
animals.
corroborate that, because by the time you left Stealthos room headed for like Firebar room, I was like, how deep are they going to go looking for silvers? Because there's not a time save at some point.
Well, I mean, it didn't actually matter how much
Yeah.
time I
Oh,
spent
yeah.
doing.
Yeah, we discussed that, and so like, I mean, it absolutely was a defensible thing to do. It was fun to see where everything was again. It was
Defensible
fun.
because he found 3 shields.
All of them.
Wow, I didn't even catch that.
All 3 of them were in GT. Yep.
Wow, that's pretty insane.
Was the ice beam also in there?
No, Ice Beam was at Graveyard Lodge.
Ah, damn.
Yeah, well, I don't want to hold up our winners too much. Certainly, get as much information out of them as you can. But I definitely want to thank our opponents, Team Wildcard. You guys are awesome. I can't wait to watch this back. Want to thank the commentators and everybody behind the scenes tonight. I think Elm dropped in to set this up out of nowhere. I don't think anybody was, like absolutely 100% ready to go, and Elm just pops in and is like, yeah, everything's fine, I got this.
Yeah.
So commentators, Cross and Maniacal and everybody, really, we scheduled this only like 36 hours ago, so it was really great that everybody was willing to come together for us. We really appreciate it. And I don't know our trackers offhand, but thank you guys as well.
That would be Link40 and Obscure Jackal.
Well,
Oh,
thank
hey,
you,
Link.
Force and Obscure Jackal.
And absolutely, it's absolutely our pleasure. I'm just gonna go ahead and speak for Maniacal as well and say that he had a good time commentating for an awesome race. So thank you guys for putting on a great show and running. Make sure you give these guys a follow. A little chat command.
Oh, we're going to let you guys go so you have a chance to eat some dinner.
Yeah.
Great playing you, Alucard and Anaconda.
Yeah,
Likewise.
thank you guys. GG's.
Yeah,
GG.
real
luck.
quick, coming up on the schedule on Speed Gaming. So first of all, if you just have not had enough 2v2 combo rando, there is currently a race going on that started about an hour ago, and that is on regular old twitch.tv/speedgaming. If you stick around this channel, once again, that is going to be a Zelda 1 randomizer coming up. So I have been Cross Product. Thank you so much, everybody, for watching, and I will let my main man, Maniacal, give us a goodbye.
Yeah, I'll take a second to hype that other 2v2 matchup over on Speed Gaming. That's Team Fail Guys. That's Lenifus and Shy Guy versus the Big Key Hunters of Maximum Barnage and Super Nintailor. That's going to be a really good matchup. Also in the winner's bracket. Winner of that'll play against Team Farts, Andy and Ivan. It's been a lot of fun. Looking forward to catching that one. Really enjoyed this one. Thank you to Cross Product for having me on board. And congrats to WildAnaconda69, Alucard2004, moving on to round 3 in the winner's bracket. Hopefully Solsky and I as Bootless Sutless can set up a match with them, but we'll find out on Sunday, I imagine. But also GG, and thanks to everyone for coming in for the interviews, to Locklen and Cynas, and best of luck to them as they face their next matchup in the losers bracket. Looking forward to watching more from both those teams. Thank you all for hanging out. Enjoy either the Zelda 1 rando or the 2v2 over on Speed Gaming, or whatever you choose to watch. Thank you all and have a great night.